3, 2, 1.
Weebcast!
Yeah. Okay. Now that everybody in the room is sufficiently humiliated, hello and welcome. This is the weekly Weebcast, or the mostly weekly Weebcast. We missed the last couple, but it's Christmas, so I hope you'll forgive me. I'm Geoff Thew, professional shitbag, your host. And today I am joined by Super Eyepatch Wolf.
Hey, great to be here.
Truongasm.
Aloha, great to be here.
Antfish.
Hey, what's up?
And Woolie Woolz.
Terrible to be here. Really don't want to be here. Last place I want to be.
And
I want to be Magfest. Come on.
yeah, we're here at Magfest, and I have brought all of the Stardust Crusaders together to talk about Jojo's Bizarre Adventure.
Dibs on pulling her off.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
That's cool.
We're the Die Weebcast for this week, I guess, then, or the Shin Weebcast.
Well, depending on which beds we're sitting on, it determines which of us are dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no!
Oh, jeez.
Damn it!
And look at us.
Should have picked Iggy.
I guess that makes me Iggy.
Whose star is going furthest ahead of the others as it goes through the sky?
Yeah.
How many references are we going to throw? Oh, my God. Okay.
But yeah, so Diamond is Unbreakable just finished. Yeah.
Yes.
And basically...
It wasn't Crash.
It was not Crash. Diamond was not Crash.
Not.
It was a beautiful duang, too, with many colors.
Abaj. Abaj. Yeah.
And yeah, so with Diamond is Unbreakable finished, I figured I'd bring in a bunch of JoJo experts to...
That's, yeah. Don't throw that word around.
I never understood what's the I don't know why we're here.
I thought we were talking about the singer.
Like,
Yeah.
dude, like, I'm a professional bullet dodger at this point. I don't need fucking, like Sex Pistols coming at me from the fans right now. Like,
Well, I mean, as soon as I said that, there were like 50 comments of like, "Have you seen William Pat versus?"
yeah. Poser extraordinaire.
Yeah,
Which is good for JoJo.
There you
Poser's
go.
great.
yeah. But yeah, I brought in, Antfish works on JoJo Abridged.
Used to work on Jojo Abridged.
Yeah, now you're with TFS, but you're still a JoJo expert.
Oh, well, I wouldn't say expert. I like it. I mean, but sometimes I forget some names, but... Hey, I know a little bit more than, let's say, a regular person who doesn't know. So really, that just means I'm a JoJo fan. But hey, aren't we all, though?
Yeah, we're all JoJo fans, basically. I think even Araki can't remember all of the names of his characters or names.
No, he cannot.
He used Earth, Wind, and Fire twice.
He did.
What?
He did.
Yep.
When?
When Mickey Tackett gets introduced, either it's like you have Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yes.
And then later on in part 6, they do it again, and he calls another stand Earth, Wind, and Fire. And then like when it was released, they had to edit it to Planet Waves because he's like he completely forgot that he used the same name twice.
That is a sick name, though. I like that.
It is, but it's
I like
like
Planet
he
Waves.
can't keep track of his own shit. Why should we?
He was going through his iTunes shuffle, and then he's like, "I like Earth, Wind, and Fire." I was like, "Oh, I forgot."
Yeah.
Let's not put an accent on it.
He fucked up, and we love him for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if he can fuck up, we can fuck up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we all want to talk about the fucking great JoJo anime, and that's gonna be the first hour-ish of this podcast, is just talking about how the anime went. The second hour-ish will be dedicated to talking about the manga and what we love about the manga and what we're hoping for the rest of the anime adaptation. And then we'll dive into the mailbag. Normally we do like a thing where we talk about our weeks, but we've all been at MagFest.
Yep.
So MagFest is cool.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's not bad. Fun times were had. Fun panels were done.
Yeah, at least one fun panel.
At least.
That I will hopefully get up on the channel sometime soon for all of you fine folks to watch.
And argue with when it comes to the list and the content.
Yeah.
Let's not spoil what's out there for the people who haven't seen.
No.
All right, so I guess let's start. Diamond is Unbreakable is over. What'd you guys think?
I think, just as far as the adaptation goes, there's so much that I'm, beyond happy with when it comes to seeing how they handled Morio in general as a town. Like, the color palette of the entire town is just the best. I'm so happy that the skies are purple and yellow. And
Blue and yellow, purple hills.
And and the streets are weird greens and pinks and magentas, and it's like, it's a perfect, like, it captures, like, a lot of the spirit of, like, the colored pieces that he would do. It captures a lot of that, and, like, it doesn't just resort back to going to a sort of a normal, boring blue sky and green fields later on. Like, the entire series has those consistent weird colors throughout the town, and it's fantastic.
I read an interview before with Iraqi, and he was saying how to him, none of the characters actually have like a set color palette in his mind. It's like it always shifts and swims for him, which is why you get like these crazy like splashes of color. And seeing them work that into the anime was so fucking cool. I think like it especially helps as well because a lot of those backgrounds, like if you look at the line art for them, they're really simple.
Yeah.
But then when when they like push the colors so hard, it really works.
They leaned into that idea of there's no official color palette for anything.
Right.
And that like sort of frees them up to adjust the colors to fit the tone of the scene.
Totally. Yeah.
And it's one of those things that you wouldn't think would work, like when you're just hearing about it, but when you see it executed, it's just it's the way that they need to do JoJo moving forward.
Like, we've been seeing him do it with the covers of the volumes for a while now with the different character, like, palettes, I guess. But I didn't realize that, like, consciously he said, like, straight up that there's no official one for each character. That's really cool.
Well, if you notice, too, like, in the 3D openings and stuff like that, the characters are different colors than what they are in the show.
Yeah.
Like, Jotaro has the blue jacket and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Kakuen has white hair.
Right.
Yeah, things change constantly.
That's right. I remember even too when they did the promo art for Stardust Crusaders. When we first see Jotaro, he had the black suit and the red shirt, but then in the show he's got the black suit and the orange or damn, which color was it again? It was like a light kind of like
Part 3?
Yeah, part 3.
It was like black and dark green.
Yeah, something like that. A lot of that threw off a lot of people, but at the same time I was like, no, it works because like it's the 80s and like everything's a lot more blocky, so like it works in that grittiness. Plus he's just like he's Snake from Escape from New York.
Right.
He's just like
Skin,
I'm just the best thing ever. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The black too of like Jotaro's suit, like the off color of the black would change from blue to purple to green on a dime too as well. So like as like subtle as that is, it was constantly changing.
But they really upped it with Diamond is Unbreakable to make it more like trippy and psychedelic.
I love that, especially with the whole bites the dust. Like,
Oh my god, yeah, that was so good.
I guess, like, I don't know about you guys, but the moment in the first, or rather, I think maybe it was the second or so episode finished, and, like, you get the first couple notes of Savage Guardian kicking in, and it's like, that is the perfect time frame. That is the perfect, like, it's just like Walk Like an Egyptian and Roundabout. Like, you nailed it with, like, the era in one song that takes me right back and makes me feel the things that I would from, like, that time frame, you know? It's perfect.
All those people who wanted Smash Mouth, I mean, you're not wrong, but
I
get it.
super wrong.
I wanted Pink Floyd. I wanted might as like give music that is based off of like the name of the main character, but I understand why they did that with Savage Garden, and I even showed it to a friend who's like, "Wait, is that Cherry Cola?" I was like, "Yeah, that's Cherry Cola." That's the song.
No
Because
way.
I remember loving that song. I would listen to it on the school bus radio every morning during 1999, whatever year it came out, 2000, and I forgot about it for a decade. And then the song came back. I was like, "Ah!"
Yeah. And I think, like, the only thing I would have liked is if they treated it the same way they did Roundabout, where you would get a bit of a lead-in before the credit drop.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
You know, and to get the To Be Continued synced up with, like, the moment that I Want You starts up properly after the intro. Like, they should have done that with it. But beyond that, excellent.
I think if they did that, that'd be great. But there were so many like clutch moments that are just like, oh my god, something suspenseful is gonna happen. You don't get that with Cherry.
No,
you don't know. At least with Roundabout, you're like, oh my god, Masaka. Like,
There was, though, a video that I don't remember the name of the guy who made it, but it was like a proof of concept that you could make it work with Savage Garden. Like there was I think it was the outro to Highway Star the Highway Star episode.
Okay,
Where like he's on the
yeah.
motorcycle and it peels off, and like he leads in with the beginning of it, and it cuts at just a moment where like the chorus is about to kick in. Yeah, it works. The lead in, not the chorus. Excuse me, and it works really well. You know,
All right,
surprisingly so. Like after I saw that, I was convinced.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and they probably could have done that with Walk Like an Egyptian too. Just have the
Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Right, and like, yeah, the to be continued right on that first note.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They should continue that.
Yeah.
It's a good meme. It's a strong meme.
It is a strong contender meme. Once that bass, like, you know something's going down.
Yeah. God, and when they get to verse 2 later on.
That got me into like 70s prog rock. I was like, this song exists, and I just looked it up, and I just started listening. Like,
And it's.
what if they did King Crimson in the next one, 21st Century?
I don't know. I don't think they're ever gonna go right on the money with the title of the stand. Because those are the best ones.
Oh yeah, most expensive.
Yeah.
Not just the most expensive, but it's like too on the nose because they get to surprise you. Like Savage Garden was a really fun surprise.
Never saw it coming. Never saw it coming.
I don't think anyone did.
Right, and if you if we were sitting there waiting for like bump bump bump. And it didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, but the surprise is fun.
Yeah.
You know?
I, for one, was really hoping for Holy Diver for, like, the ending part for the second season of Stardust Crusaders. But no, instead we got, I forget who it is, but when I heard that song, I was like, that's a beautiful song.
Last Train Home.
Yeah.
Last Train Home.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you expect Walk Like an Egyptian. That's like the most predictable one that they've done, but then they swerve into Last Train Home as soon as they actually get to Egypt.
Yeah.
So.
And I think given like the events of part 3, that Last Train Home is like
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Dude,
It
like that
is.
thing's playing
Yeah.
during certain episodes, and you're just like, it's a terrible day for rain. It's
Yeah.
a terrible day for rain.
They use that song like a weapon a couple times.
Oh yeah,
Fuck,
right
man.
to the heart.
I love shows that do that with their EDs. Like I don't know how many of you guys have seen IBO.
Yeah.
But they
Couple episodes.
the ending theme of that, they like hit you with it a couple times and then they bring it back.
Okay.
They bring back the original ending theme for one moment.
Okay.
And it's just like
it's spoilers, but it surprises you when you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I remember there was a episode of Evangelion, and I think it's the one where I won't go into too much, but Keru screams or Shinji screams at the very end, and it's over "Fly Me to the Moon," and then it's and then it's like him screaming, and it's the most haunting shit in the world.
Sounds like it.
That contrast, that was a big push. Like back then, that was very strong, and I think one of the best moments of like that's horror right there. That was a moment of just abject horror. To just jump ahead, I guess with Diamond is Unbreakable, like my like art award, whatever MVP moment thing you want to call it, goes to the moment that Enigma grabs Josuke's mom and like folds in to turn her into the piece of paper, and it just becomes this awesome like
Like a mural. Oh.
yeah.
that right that is the like I stand up and applaud and you get the Academy Award for Woolie's heart with that moment, because I can't believe you took what was a pretty cool stand that I kind of outside of like that gun moment that I love where you fold open the paper and a gun's sticking at you, like, outside of that shenanigans, I kind of like forgot about.
I actually totally forgot about that from the manga.
And like, and then you made like out, and then seeing the way that came together, I was like, that's a really exciting stand.
They made it the most visually inventive stand out of like the
set.
whole set.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, that's the thing with this adaptation is they have chances to do certain things better. Like going right back to the very beginning of the Diamond is Unbreakable adaptation, the morning, Moriocho radio.
That's my text message, dude. I'm gonna silence my phone right now, but it comes in every time.
I should probably use that instead of the Weebcast part, actually.
And then Brother Kai, or whatever his name is, the guy that comes in on and does the announcing, and it's like, yeah, this is your regular everyday, cook your eggs, clip your toenails, and have breakfast with your creepy hand.
Yeah.
You know?
But, like, it's such a well-done scene. Like, they kind of lean into sort of a Lynchian direction with
Totally.
that.
Yeah.
It feels like something straight out of Blue Velvet or out of Twin Peaks. It's so...
That's a really good comparison, actually. Yeah.
You're also looking at, like, just happy suburbia life. You know, and like that's the kind of music that you would hear with the perfect family with the picket fence and the dog that doesn't have a slasher through its neck.
Yeah.
You know, and your kids going to school and stuff. Like it captures that Morio wholesome feeling, you know. This is a town, the town's a character.
We were talking about this but yesterday, Woolie, but I always feel like suburbia is such an underutilized setting for just whatever, because I feel like there's so much you can do with it, especially when you look at like Silent Hill, Earthbound, all that kind of stuff.
I think that, like, every time an anime leans into the Japanese suburbs and like, really, really goes for that, I love it. Like, Higurashi, Japanese, suburban Japan, fucking amazing. Shiki, suburban Japan, fucking amazing. A lot of horror things. It's such an underutilized setting there. And done right, like, it's got sort of that family atmosphere, but it's also a little bit more weird and insular than urban Tokyo.
Yeah, totally.
The contrast, too, that you create, I've said this a couple times now, but it's so great when you look at the end of Stardust Crusaders, and it's just two gods fighting over Egypt. You know, like in the sky, flying with energy blasting, and it's the most ridiculous thing. And then here you have some shitty student and a businessman hiding around the corner of a house, peeking out, flinging glass at each other, and bubbles. Like, it's the complete opposite in terms of like scale and like, I guess, how epic it's supposed to be. But that's what makes it better to me. I love that so much more.
Kira versus Josuke is probably the best fight of this year, I would say. Like, I mean, I looked at all those fights. You can't see that I looked at all those fights right now because I've got a copyright claim on YouTube. But it is so strong, the way that they strategize around each other and the way that they utilize just that one small house that they're fighting around.
Yeah. I would say even possibly, like, I'd call it Kira versus Hayato with Josuke.
Yeah.
All the other characters assisting.
Hayato is the shit. He's the coolest, like, regular dude. He's the best Krillin type. Motherfucker.
He is.
Because you're a kid. You're fighting the hardest, most ridiculous stands ever and keeping up, and you can't even see what they do. You don't know what it is.
Good old Haley Joel Osment.
Like, literally none of the other characters could conceivably beat Bites the Dust.
Yeah.
Like, and Hayato is the only person who could beat that, and he does it, and that's fucking incredible.
He does it, but it's not without an assistant. He did the layup, and somebody had to dunk it in.
He needs the assist for sure, but like, he fucking outsmarted Kira. Like,
multiple times.
Let's be real, though. Kira's not the brightest guy. His pride gets in the way way too many times. Like, because he's never had to face other people who had stand users. Like, he's always just been like, my stand's amazing. Then he meets other stands like, oh shit, maybe I'm not as good. But every time he's met Koyochi, I forget if I pronounce his name correctly. Thank you.
Yeah,
every time he uses Act 3 and just freezes, he's useless. Because like, oh fuck, I can't move because
I can't move my hand.
Yeah. And I can't fucking...
But... like, the thing is, I don't think pride is quite the right word, because Kira, like, he's very confident in what his stand can do, but moreover, he's just, like, an absurdly lazy villain.
Yeah,
in the best way.
He has that line where he's like, man, I really hate fighting because now I'm just going to have to fight more.
The reason why he says he doesn't go after any of them is because he doesn't want to avoid fighting in the first place.
He doesn't want to
wants
bother
a regular
with it.
life where he can just murder people.
Which is so interesting because, like, you know, first you have Dio, who's like sociopathic vampire. Then you have Kars, who's like god king. And then you have, like, Dio again, and they fucking love fighting and hurting people and battling.
Being the best.
Yeah, and then Kira's just like, just leave me alone, guys. And that's so fucking cool, I think.
Like, he has an ego, but, like, it's not to be the most powerful fighter stand man, you know? It's like, I have an ego because I'm fucking Kira, but I just want to be left alone. You know?
He's been doing it for so long, he starts to build up like, I've been getting away from murders for 15 years. Pretty sure I know what I'm doing, guys.
Yeah.
It's that Patrick Bateman confidence.
Oh.
And you know what? I mean, Araki even said Part 4 was inspired by American horrors, so let's be real here. Like, that is 100% who Kira is, Patrick Bateman.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his in terms of villain stuff, and you can learn more about that in Eyepatch Wolf's video on villains. But so all the other ones are just constantly looking for they're evil and they just want power. With Kira, you learn all about all his little OCDs and all his little the habits that everyone else would do, like tapping on wood or stuff like that. He looks at Koichi's shoe and gets distracted and has to fix his shoe. Even though
He's so good.
yeah.
He's this weird fucking loser, basically. Who gets by on being kind of handsome and quiet, which like is the ideal Japanese businessman thing, but he's fucking weird.
And like the girls like it, they're like, hey, can you want to hang out? And he's like, no, I'm just doing my business thing,
He's like, I don't want to hang out with anybody who's interested in me or has a body.
I love the third place trophy thing where it's like he aims
for third place. That's
so,
great.
Like because it's so like against what humans like to be, and he's such a great character.
And I mean, and while he's like internally all Patrick Bateman, like his design, I love how Araki was just like, all right, so Dio is clearly just David Bowie, and we're coming back around. We got a new part. Time to design a new villain. Oh, look, it's David Bowie again.
Yeah.
Just a different version of him. Like, fuck it. I love him. He's great. We're going to do it twice. Stop me. Like.
Oh, man. And speaking of villains, Kira's dad is a fucking great villain, too.
Yeah.
Like,
he's a great villain, but he's also a really convenient monster of the week device. Slash.
Like a Rita Raposa, I'm going to make more monsters now. Take care of these guys.
Or like experimental Xeon unit of the week. He's very much kind of like the guy that's going to let that happen. But I do like that it shows you how Kira was able to live his comfortable life as a result of this kind of doting asshole that lets him get away with it.
Yeah, this enabler.
That's the right
But like
word.
it's kind of sad because like if your kid's a serial killer, what do?
Yeah.
And like that's what he had to kind of like deal with.
You fucking snitch!
He's a bad dad.
yeah, exactly.
Turn that fucker in! But you make another one and try again! You fucked up!
You fucked up.
But I mean, he was also a bad guy.
Chanting
in his
that
own
at your
right.
balls, you fucked up!
What happened to his mom? Did he murder his mom?
I believe she just died normally.
Yeah, she died.
Okay. See, now if Kira had murdered his mom, maybe the dad would have been like,
Yeah.
No, it says that she died, like, I think a year before the father did, actually, or something along those lines. But yeah, probably another enabler.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I just think he loves his kid. It's fine.
He's fine. And his kid loves taking other people's
Listen,
lives.
if I have a serial killer, you all got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Well, I've known people that there's
my
parents that constantly like get their kids out of jail and stuff like that, and they just deal with that. And,
He's basically that parent who doesn't vaccinate his kid because he's like,
Not mine, even though everyone else is at risk.
I'm going to link to a very informative subreddit.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, he's such an interesting character who they don't dive into his psychology a lot, and that kind of makes him more interesting. I wish they explored a little bit of how did this guy get that stand arrow? What's his association with Dio and Yaba?
Yeah.
Like there's something there.
Araki does not explain a lot. I feel like he was writing part 4 halfway, then forgot, and then just went off with what he had.
He straight forgot the time loop that he was clearly planning for. Yeah. Like,
and the fact that like Okuyasu's brother Keicho, like the arrow that he got, it's weird enough that like he'd get that from Anyaba, but also independently of that, Kira's dad gets one as well and stuff. It's kind of like she's just handing these things out.
I would say it's almost the excuse a lot of people would say is like it's like a Jedi thing, like stand users are drawn together, so these things are bound to happen.
Although that was before they got the stands, right? Dude, those are just two random Japanese people just got two different arrows.
It could be that cursed blood destiny.
Sure.
Cursed blood destiny. Deus Ex Destiny, let me tell you.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. I just started thinking about how, like, the time loop is set up, you know, because there is that thing where Josuke talks about how that delinquent saved him.
I don't think it's him.
Kid.
I don't think it's him. And I know we pre-discussed this a little bit, but I think that the person that saved Josuke is just some random delinquent.
See, do you know the only part that gets me about that? Why does he have the shit kicked out of him? That's such an odd detail.
So like what I think the intention was, and maybe the intention was straight up and into like the end of the Kira fight until like an editor was like, no, stop this shit, you gotta fucking end this.
You think that
I think that when he gets his head run over by an ambulance. I think that might have been editor interference, and the initial plan might have been he actually does succeed with the time travel thing. He takes Josuke with him, and then like Josuke realizes that his power to fix things can also reset the timeline to how it's supposed to be.
So you think he was gonna bite the dust his way all the way
back to his past?
I could see that.
Yeah,
I could totally see that.
And then like he starts going through that portal, and then Josuke takes that piece of glass or some Akira's blood or something and fixes it and follows him through the time portal.
That, oh my god!
I think.
And he would not have been affected because Bites the Dust restarted, right? Okay.
Yeah, and like he just ends up going further back than he thought he would.
And then we get the looper or like spiral timeline conundrum where you grandfather complex, where he gets works into everything.
Yeah, and where he saves himself, and then he's like, okay, I can do this. I can beat Kira, and that's the final arc. Like I think that may have been where they were going, and then an editor was like, no, fucking stop this.
Like, or maybe it needs to be over right now.
Yeah.
That's Shonen Jump for you.
You had a theory about like the long con on this one.
I suspect there may be a very long con going here, and I don't want to get into it too much because it goes really into like part 8 stuff. But if you know what's going on with part 8, just think about it.
Yes.
I mean, the further part 8 goes along, the less likely that seems, but
that's bullshit, but I believe it.
That's the correct answer.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It just works.
He could bring it back around. He could part 8 could end with another Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah. Oh my god. That'd be the biggest cop-out, honestly. I mean, to be honest, like, what do we all think of the... I guess continue on spoilers with this.
We're not manga spoilering yet, so we just sort of danced around it. But I guess in the second hour we'll. Let's continue on talking about. We were talking about Kira and the ambulance. Let's talk about how cool that was, shall we?
Man.
I needed that gratification of seeing him die.
You see the head twitching.
Yeah, how it spins all the way around.
They give you like 2 frames of his head rotating, and it's enough, and you're like, oh shit!
Like it's exactly like if you've ever like happened to catch like a bad GIF on the internet of like some gory shit. It's the first frame or 2 of that enough where you close your eyes like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Oof. And oh man, that's such a great, like, even though I do think now that I've said it, I do think that they were probably planning to do like a whole time loop thing. But that's such a great surprise way to end that. Is just like all of these times that luck has helped Kira out, and then he just fucking rolls backwards into an ambulance.
And I love how, like, because no one else can see the stands involved, they're just gonna go, it looks like he dived under the truck. That's all they get of it. And the thing is, right when that moment happens, or right before that final like clash, Hayato's the one who gives him the spiel about justice and is like, fuck your luck, this is all about justice, and you can't, justice prevails no matter what, which is awesome because that's the theme of the entire fucking show. Everybody point at the sky for justice. Do you think that, like, is his main, like, force based on the fact that he's just got supreme luck that lets him get through life?
Yep.
Or is it that he's got the will with, like, every time he gets pierced with an arrow or every time his fucking stand evolves, like, he's got the will to, like, want to survive and it lets his stand go further? Like, do you think it's just, like, willpower or more so luck?
Kira is, like, the ultimate, like, his survival instinct is incredible. Like, you can't, like, even, you know, when, like, the guys corner him the first time, and it's like, how the fuck is he gonna... And then, like, you know, he runs away, he steals the guy's face.
Well, I mean,
That just happened
he's
to
like-
have
he
the
lets
exact
his
same
arm
thing.
go like a fucking lizard.
And he somehow
in
knows that he
escape.
gets his arm. He gets his hand back because he could have gone and not have it. He could have gone, got a face change, but not have the hand.
Right.
And he just gambled and won.
Like, he's like a wild animal you just can't kill, you know? And I think that's a big part of his drive. He wants his quiet life so badly that he forces his way out of these situations.
Yeah, the more you threaten him, the more dangerous he gets.
And so that's why I'm inclined to say, like, despite the fact that the show says luck, and he's like, oh, today's my lucky day, I'm so lucky. I don't really think it's so much luck as much as it is like again, if you get
Pluck.
Yeah, it's pluck. Yeah. You know, if you, again, you get stabbed with that arrow again, and like you don't drop dead a second time. Like, that could be, like, lucky shit, or it could just be, again, like, you want to get out of the situation so badly that, like, your stand's new ability is an even more fucked up version of a specific thing that gets just you out of this situation you're in, and nothing else, no other application.
You put out what the universe gives you. So, like, he would, because, like you said, like, he cut off his arm. He got a new body. So, like, he gave away something small, and he got something even better. He found out, oh shit, I murdered my kid. What am I gonna do? You have a new stand ability, the kid's alive, and guess what? Whenever your kid mentions your name, someone else dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think luck is actually like a real objective stat in the Jojo universe. Because like when Dio is first getting caught, when he's human, he's first getting caught by police. Wang Chun comments he has 3 birthmarks on his ear. That means he's really lucky and he can get out of any situation.
That sounds like bullshit. Shoot him.
And then, the car drives by and he grabs it at the end to start a, like,
Yeah.
the villains get crazy lucky all the time in JoJo.
Yeah.
That is a thing.
It's fun when villains get lucky, though. It sucks when heroes do, but when villains do it, it's like, motherfucker!
Yeah.
Like, you know
The
the
saga
bit with the
continues.
watch? Where he gets blasted by a stray cat, and then the watch is in his pocket,
Right.
and it's like, fucking god damn it,
No!
And like, because the bubbles are like, or the explosions are just object based and not as much area of effect based. It's like, it just targeted the watch.
And it's great because like they flip that when he does finally die. But also, like, the heroes do kind of get lucky to defeat him in that he rolls under the ambulance, but at the same time, I think that kind of works because they're unsatisfied that they didn't get to kill him, but they're also like, this is for the best. No one would have believed us anyway. He'd never have gone to jail.
The justice system wouldn't have worked.
And then Raimi gets justice. Like she gets to fucking that's such a great.
I just remembered how, like, when we're talking about luck, it's like, oh, and he's also just so lucky that he knows about the hands in the alleyway. You're the only person that heard this before.
Told me once.
Really, Kira?
Because his dad's a ghost.
Yeah, that's fair. He goes to the other ghostly hangouts. He hears things. The walls have ears or eyes.
Fucking just in the middle of your outro, you're bullshitting your way out of it. Like,
But that's JoJo. It's just you're bullshitting your way.
But it's better then because she gets him anyway.
Yeah.
Like she's like, what, you really think that I wouldn't have prepared for 20 years? And then he's like, dog, what?
In a way, after all the dogs dying in that series, one dog defeats the main villain.
Yeah, finally!
Dog come up.
A dead
lot
dog,
of animals
but still.
die in JoJo because you need to solidify.
especially.
Araki hates dogs.
It's the kitten test.
There's an interview where he says he actually loves dogs, but he wants to make his villains so hated that dogs are the meanest thing.
It's 100% the kitten test, and that's how you establish evil immediately.
So by that logic, Cars isn't a bad guy because because he loves
Oh
animals.
God, he loves animals.
Yeah.
No, Cars is a great guy.
That fucking.
He never
is
did
a
anything
good
wrong.
person.
Haven't you read the light novel where he's the hero and there's 36
cars on Mars, baby.
36 cars on Mars.
Yours, your star.
And
Yeah.
Funny
Yeah.
Valentine has sons named Funnier and Funniest.
Oh
you
my
serious?
God.
Yeah,
That's fucking great.
it's a light novel that's not canon, but
It's
Okay,
bullshit.
all right.
It's
It's-
bullshit.
Okay, all right. I believe it though. It's bullshit, but I believe it.
Cars gets a stand.
Yeah.
What?
And there's
Most powerful
another
stand.
ability besides stands that are based on movie names. Is it?
They're called Beyonds. Yeah, and there's wounds, stands, and beyonds.
What are wounds?
Wounds
now?
are manifestations of spirit energy that are based on damage that you've taken, psychological or like any kind of scar that you have is a wound that comes out and manifests
So
in spirit energy.
Wait a minute. Okay.
It's not canon. It's not
No, no, no,
canon.
no,
It's
no.
I feel
Think
we're
of it-
standing on
think
the
of
edge of a deep precipice here.
Think of it this way. Kira. When he got hit by the arrow, he was canon. No. We're gonna make it canon. He gets hit by the arrow, and because he's like, oh fuck, what do I do? That's like a mental thing. So the arrow's like, oh well, a wound. So by that logic, could bites the dust be a wound instead of a stand?
I'm not going there.
Does that mean Stairway to Heaven is a beyond?
Oh no, I'm not going there.
Guys,
I'm not doing
It's
it.
gold experience Rec Room
Not
beyond.
doing it.
Guys, I'm gonna turn off this mic. I have a note and a pen here. We're gonna start this fan fiction.
At the end, Stray Cat is totally calm and getting purring and they're petting. How did they tame Stray Cat?
Stray Cat's just a cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stray Cat is
But
literally.
but
When you
like
take away its superpowers, it's a fucking cat.
it was angry at life and attacking everything though. Not
It's a cat.
Yeah, because it got murdered by some
Cats get
stupid
mad.
bitch who's just like fucking hits it with a broom.
Well, it's not
Hey,
even her fault.
she's
It's the thing
fucking
falls
great.
on.
Yeah.
She's like
She's
a
just
not
as
very
crazy.
good. She is a not very good wife or mom.
Yeah,
She's
I'll
kind
do
of
that.
psycho.
She's one of those like, I want to run away with the bad boy and just have a kid and then I have a regular life and but then when she finds out she's gonna be nailing a serial killer,
Yeah.
that gets her going.
That really gets.
That's the kind of parenting that creates a kid that like spies on his parents in their bedroom.
The
Yeah,
video
like
camera.
a super
Yeah.
creep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
It's
were
like
talking-
you were gonna be a serial killer too,
Yeah, we were
Hayato.
talking about he was very close to becoming a serial killer in his own right. If
It's-
things didn't get.
Oh, my parents haven't made love this week. Like, what
I must
the
make
fuck
sure
are you
that this
doing?
happens.
Before, like honestly, before he comes around to being the best character, I was kind of like in the arc leading up to Kira actually killing him and getting bites the dust. I kind of cheer for Kira in that one because Hayato's such a little fucking creep.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh no, right, he's a fucking monster.
Yeah.
And Hayato's the only one who can stop him.
He looks like a Home Alone dude. Like he
He looks like Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely got the 90s.
But
look
not
on him.
but then not only does it become like best character, but it's like he has a really great moment where he's just like, my dad wasn't anything special, but he's gone and I'm never gonna get him back, and that really sucks. You're like, that's a human
that-
moment right there.
That hit a little too deep.
That fucking ending where he's just, it's like, we're not gonna eat till your dad comes home, and he's like, yeah, okay, I'll sit and wait with you, mom.
That's it.
That's like,
that sucks, man.
Because like he's not old enough to actually be able to like emotionally like relate to his mom and tell her, oh, by the way, dad's never coming home. And so that response was so perfect.
and that's the thing, right? Because
They suffer together, and that's beautiful.
Nobody's ever gonna find his dad's body, and they identified Kira when he died. Because it was only his face that got swapped out. He still got his fingerprints, his dental.
Yeah.
So Daddy just took off and ran away.
Yeah.
That was it.
Cigarettes.
Yeah, oh, God. And how messed up would that be? Like, they're both basically suspecting that it's not really him. But
She kind of doesn't care.
no, she's like, I want fucking finally somebody I can bang in my bed.
Right, yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. I don't know, but I think that they probably have like for being such a cool guy, Hayato gets a really shitty ending out of it.
He does. But I mean, like, I guess that's Mario, though, right?
Yeah.
Everything is shown like everything's amazing, but when you pull the camera back, like, no.
Yep,
Things
totally.
are bad.
It's a very like Lynchian story.
Yeah.
It is, and I really appreciate that the animators tuned into that and turned it up a little bit.
It's like The Village, where it's like everything's great, and anything that bad happens, we don't tell about it.
Yeah, let's just ignore it for the greater good.
I love all
Greater
the
good.
landmarks, by the way.
Yeah.
He sort of forgot about it later on, but for first like half the series.
Yeah.
I even like the way like it kind of has its own rules. Like all of a sudden there's ghosts in JoJo's, and it's just a thing. And aliens.
Is that an alien or is it a stand user?
They never explain it, and it's amazing.
And fuck you if you want to know. We move on.
Yeah.
Like, that's... God, Araki, at that whole thing. And then you get the double think of, like, this woman comes up and, like... He's like, oh, come on, Miki Taka, whatever, you know? And then he's like, oh, I've brainwashed this woman. And you're just like, fucking... Like, you make a moment where you're like, oh, we might get a moment of resolution. No, it really just confuses it even further.
The arrow couldn't pierce his skin.
And he didn't
They
see,
nicked him.
and he didn't see the stand.
Yeah,
He didn't see Crazy Diamond in front of him.
Yeah, but he could also just be like
biggest shit.
some crazy stand user, or have like an automatic stand that he's not aware of.
Could
and he could just be some chuny.
Yeah, that was what I was about to say. This character existed before Chunies were a big thing. He could be one of the prototypes of that.
The proto chuny, or it could be a for real alien. You never know. And if he was a for real alien, man, what kind of swerve would it have been if they fucking defeated Kira? And then he's like, "Oh, my mothership is finally coming down." Comes down, Cars is attached to the side.
He's like a wood ornament.
He just lands it, crushes Kira's head. My ship's here. What?
There's only one way to find out definitively. Go get RPS Kid on the line, have him play Miki Taka and RPS, see what happens when he loses.
Yeah.
Shit.
By the way, I think we've tweeted it out, but just to get it out there, like, verbally, RPS Kid, most powerful, underrated stand user as an adult.
The
right?
scariest stand
Most
When is
terror-
RPS again?
Rock, Paper, Scissors Kid.
Oh, that kid.
He also has a lot of luck too.
Right?
If-
Boys
yeah.
to Men.
Boys to Men. Yeah.
ABC.
If he had beat Rohan, he would have straight up been the most powerful, undefeatable stand user in the world.
Instantly.
Yeah.
And now we just have to assume that he grows up to be a nice person, hopefully.
Yeah.
Because you've got a fucking stand that steals other stands' abilities.
I mean, and even worse than Whitesnake, you know, because Whitesnake does that too.
Yeah, the thing about Whitesnake is, well, I mean, whatever, that's future things, but he does it involuntarily, whereas like RPS Kid has to get you to play a game with him.
Yeah.
It's RPS, I assume, with developmental potential, it'll probably be any game of chance where he can win.
Against Derby.
Yeah. Oh, fuck! Your soul for your stand.
Ooh.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think RPS Kid is like ridiculous potential in terms of like what you can do with that. And again, you beat him and hope he doesn't become a villain. You know, rats get killed, bad guys get converted. You know, you can turn Highway Star into a friend. But
I'll make him humble.
yeah, exactly. But I don't know about that kid. Where'd he go? What the fuck? He's got a hole in his cheek. He's a weird.
Rohan did punch him pretty hard.
Yeah.
So you're
That'll
gonna make
set
a
him
show
straight.
about me, right? Yeah. Sometimes you just need a punch in the face when you're a kid, and then you realize, okay, I get it.
And I think too that I like how like Diamond is Unbreakable has, you got to have a moment of that guy gets it harder than he should have. Like Cars gets it harder than he deserves. That is such a horrible, torturous end
Yeah.
to someone who's a bad guy, but you deserve like finality, you know? And the conclusion is basically eventually he stops thinking, but that's not really a conclusion.
Yeah, no, he just has to live forever in space.
Yeah. In Diamond is Unbreakable, Aqua Necklace, man.
Yeah.
Like the first fucking guy, like punching you and then healing you into a rock.
You're stuck forever.
Yeah.
Is like you just no-clipped somebody and then turned the collision back on and locked him there. Like that is such horrible torture to
Same
me.
thing with Enigma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just like that's beyond fucked. Like, well, Enigma,
He's a book.
yeah, but he turns himself into a book, but he's not alive or aware, right? He kind of just becomes the object.
He says, I'm a book, and apparently what in like that description thing it says that you can hear him screaming if you open it.
Okay.
Library.
Okay. So then, he
Why
gets it
keep
too.
it in the library?
No, he gets it too. Well, I put that rock that's alive in front of the park.
But he's not alive though, because like after when he's like put in there, he's still talking, and then Josuke like beats him up, and then like
He makes noises.
He's alive, and his eyes move around.
the eyes look
the eyes
around.
move- okay, all right. Well,
Yeah,
shit.
he's totally conscious and stuck in the rock.
That sucks for him.
Like I feel like the first time I ever saw that was Ninja Scroll with like the end of that where the bad guy gets dropped to the bottom of the ocean with
And
the
he's
gold.
yeah.
You know, and I'm like
that was
that
so cool.
That torture of just being stuck in a thing forever.
Infinite.
Araki's good at coming up with those punishments for villains, though. Like, I mean, Dio gets that initially, and then he gets out.
Yeah.
But like, part 5 ends
when we
with
get to manga.
Yeah.
I'd say that's worse.
It's just evil deserves most of the time the sweet release of death at the very least.
Yeah.
Very few people deserve it indefinitely, and that's what fucks me up about it.
Yeah, the forever, just almost getting it, but not getting it
And
forever.
not even like within the range of a normal human life, literally to infinity.
to infinity
In different ways that you...
through every end of the universe that happens.
Never the death climax.
He as Stairway to Heaven is happening, he's just dying faster.
Just if if your story reaches some sort of conclusion, that's a whole other thing. You know, you're still alive and suffering in that way. Like it's too far.
Yeah,
but, and Josuke has no problem with it whatsoever.
No.
and Kira gets it pretty bad too. He gets his soul torn apart by zombie ghost hands.
What does that really mean?
Well,
You go to
actually,
hell.
he comes back in some official side stories as another ghost. You might have seen art with him with like a bowler hat on and gloves. He comes back, but he's just a ghost now.
Araki loves Kira.
But he has amnesia, so he doesn't remember who he is.
Right. Well, his stand got ripped apart.
Yeah.
When when you see that happen, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm done now.
And his stage is like, well, this is it.
But I
I
think-
enjoyed being a cat.
I think Rohan writing "You Will Go to Hell" on Cheap Trick, like that's as stylish as that fucking is. Like that pretty much confirms, like, no, the hands grab you, you're going to a hell.
Okay.
Yeah. Or, I mean, they force you to go to the afterlife. Or something.
You're going somewhere.
Because, I mean, he wrote "You Will Go to Hell" just as, like, a fuck you
as
to
a fuck you.
wherever he goes afterwards.
Yeah.
But like, if he can write "You Will Learn Italian," then he can definitely write "You Will Go to Hell," and like the world will then invent a hell for you to go to. I don't know.
Rohan has the most...
Your own personal hell.
Like Rohan has a reality-shaping stand
Yes.
Yeah.
that he doesn't utilize at all.
sandbag. They like part 4 really sandbags the ridiculous power levels of the stand users, because their applications are just for the smallest, most mundane. Knock that guy back really fast so that Highway Star can't catch him. Okay, sounds good.
Like-
you know, or again, the hand. Okuyasu's ability in general is like, oh, he's an idiot, so don't worry. He's going to use it to swipe and solve the problem. But
Like Rohan could write "Highway Star cannot touch me" in his own body, and that would rewrite reality to do that. Like, he has basically the Death Note without any of the rules.
right.
Like he can just fucking... He can write on your face, like, you'll travel back in time and die to a dinosaur.
I mean,
and that'll happen.
I always assumed that it had to be based on like what was plausible within, like reality and what.
Like, I don't think he can make
But
people
you will
fly.
learn Italian.
But exactly, and it's like, and that's not knowledge that existed in your brain before. So that means that's like outside influence suddenly affects you, and like the concept of Italian becomes a thing in your brain. So that means that like it's not limited to what exists within you already. You can reach out and do other things.
We wouldn't be questioning this if he just didn't put that part in, and it would just be like Stardust Crusaders, where we just assume everyone speaks English or Japanese.
Yeah.
I think it also, like, it brings up a good point about, like, it's not even just about what your stand can do, it's about how you use the ability your stand can do. Because, like, even we were saying before, how, like, if Okuyasu was smart,
Yes.
he'd be the most dangerous stand user.
All problems solved instantly.
Yeah.
Like he would also be the most dangerous villain. Like, I was talking about, he could just tap you with his finger and fucking lobotomize you, and nobody would know. Nobody would know. It's like, is your head a little thinner?
And it's like that even seems like too much effort for the potential I'm imagining is like swiping is the necessary action, it seems so far. If he ever develops that to the point where you don't even really have to swipe, your hand can just nullify space until you're satisfied.
Yeah.
You can just sit there and black hole reality until you're like, nah, I'm done. Let it reattach now, and everything comes flying to compensate for the gap he made.
Yeah,
I mean, like, it's terrifying when he can fly with it. He can do anything.
That's also a stand that has like a limited number of uses on Earth, because he could like eradicate all of the air on Earth.
In theory, wherever it goes,
he could destroy the planet.
Yep, he could just
like
start swiping and never stop. You know,
we're lucky that he's an idiot.
That's it.
Yeah. Like
a good-hearted idiot.
I love that moment where he's like, I never really thought about where this stuff goes, because Okuyasu, like, he's never sat down and been like, what could I really do with this? He's like, make stuff disappear, I don't know. Yeah. And I think that's kind of cool thing about him, you know?
Yeah.
And then he brings up the moment with his dad where it's like he could have just swiped his dad away. But he was afraid that he'd end up somewhere worse, so he didn't want to do that to him, you know? That's the only reason why. He's like, I couldn't solve the problem, but my emotional attachment here means I love my dad too much to risk that. You know, but it shows you that even he understands how powerful that part of it is.
He never uses it on a person. Like, he never directly uses that to hit somebody.
No, only to he swipes at Jotaro.
Yeah,
when he's doing it for his brother, but like he never.
You mean Josuke.
Sorry, Josuke. Excuse me, but
he's not trying to kill him.
No, and he could have
swiping him just to punch him.
Right, right.
Yeah, he just wants to hit him more, and it's like, if he ever used that on a person, like, can you imagine just your head's gone, your shoulders are knit together?
Oh God, you don't just remain. He doesn't
Because
just.
it was the sign just got closer together.
Yeah. Fuck! I always thought about it. The attack being like he'd swipe away part of your face and now you have no face. But it's like, no, it stitches what's remaining back together.
Yeah, exactly.
How does that work?
Like,
That's
just
horrible.
straight lobotomize you by running his finger through your head.
Horrible.
That's why they could never have Okuyasu beating someone and have it be like a happy outcome.
No.
It'd be like, Jesus, Okuyasu, I don't think he needed that.
Yeah, it's way too terrifying to think of.
Like, every time he does it is basically like what Josuke did to Aqua Necklace. Like, every time, though.
And like, and even like Echoes, like if he 3-freezes somebody's entire body just to the ground,
Like, okay.
you're just pancaking the person.
Yeah.
You know, like it seems like I forgot what was the exact weight. Was it like 50 pounds or something like that?
It increases the closer he gets.
The closer he gets. Right,
So, and it's like exponential.
Right.
But I mean, also, his ability to just put a sound effect in your head that will never go away for the rest of your life
until he calls it back. Yeah.
And when that evolves, I mean, my one problem with that is that 3 freeze doesn't feel like a proper evolution of what it does at Act 2.
Yeah,
but,
I agree.
But like Act 2, honestly, Act 2 was cooler. Act 2 had more applications.
It was cuter.
It was a more traditional, like, I think it was the one with nearly the easiest to understand rules.
Yeah.
Because, like, Act 1 was like, wait, what the fuck?
He attaches a sound effect and you hear it, and then Act 2 is he attaches a sound effect and it just does that.
Yeah.
like sizzle on the door.
Onomatopoeia is real.
Yeah.
But I think there's a train of thought with the sound thing that, like, in Act 3... It might be a Japanese pun or something we just don't get as English speakers, but it doesn't logically follow that like Act 3 would do what it does based on what Act 1 and 2 do.
Yeah.
You know, I don't follow the sequence.
Here's a thought though. For Okuyasu, he could theoretically, like, say somebody has had their arm detached, he could swipe all of the space between the arm and the detach point, like surgically, and then it would be reattached.
And they'd have a short arm, yeah.
Yeah, they have a slightly shorter arm.
But he's really accurate with it. He knows exact distance.
He could also, like, this ironing board that we got the mic on, right? Mm-hmm. He could swipe away your leg and part of that ironing board, and then that's part of you.
That's scary to think.
Objects fusing together.
Yeah, he could just do that. Like, he's technically got a healing power.
/ mutation power.
Well,
Yeah.
If you notice, it's kind of like Fugo in Part 5, where he's not written to a lot of fights. He only really helps during the Akira fight.
For these bullshit
Yeah,
reasons.
Yeah.
Fucking Panicotta, whatever his fucking name is. Anyway, yeah, Fugo. But no, I think that all that to say, just like, yeah, Part 4 stands way stronger than the uses that we see them with, and way stronger than I think Araki even realized in creating them in terms of potential.
I think also just like way more interesting than a lot of the stands in Part 3.
Yeah.
They were just
I
like elements and shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there's some really cool stands in Part 3, but then, you know, like, you have some of them and it's just like, he's a water dude. He looks like a fish, and it's like, okay.
Like, I don't even know how Enigma found out how his power works. You have to make someone be scared twice.
Yeah, that's so...
So I think that the only way we know how he figures that out, and how anyone figures out the obscure rules of their stands, like think about Superfly and shit like that, where it's like it's not even it's a manifest stand. It's like it's out there and he barely really has control over it. I think the only thing we have to go on is something from Part 6. Part 5 rather, when Spice Girl first appears and like she learns how it works. Yeah. It's kind of because like the stand kind of tells you what it does, and that's the only way that these weird Enigma rules would happen, is if Enigma was like, "Hey, what's up? I'm your stand. This is what I do."
Or that knowledge just gets planted into your brain. Because as soon as Kira gets hit with that arrow, he knows how Bites the Dust works.
But at the same time, think about Echoes going like, "Hey, what do you want me to do?" And he's like, stop him. And he's like, tell me what to do. And he's like, he doesn't know what Echoes is about, and he's trying to figure it out on the fly.
Yeah, that's...
So it's not 100%,
I think in a way, though, like Koichi was always getting forced into situations where he had to, like, activate his stand. But then I think, like, normally it seems like, I guess, a bit of a more gradual thing.
Actually, you know what? Echo's actual power might have just been to do whatever the fuck Koichi needed at that moment.
As it was evolving.
Yeah, like Echo's may have just been like a no stats S tier growth potential stand. And if he'd wanted it, like if he'd needed something else, it could have done that.
That's true, because he could also bring out Act 1 and Act 2, but when he had Act 3, because he needed Act 3 for those reasons, he brought him out.
Like when Act 1 came out, he just needed to call for help, and with Act 2, he just needed to like get help, and it's like he might have been constraining himself.
With Act 1 and 2, they're kind of like, in a way, they're like all-round stands, like they have a lot of applications. With Act 3, it's like all the stats went into like, you know, one category to make shit like heavier.
Yeah.
But the question is, does Act 3 work with other puns? Like, he never experiments.
Never tried it.
Yeah, like, because if it works with other puns, then all of a sudden that's like
3 freeze, 1 ton, 2... I don't know. Poo. There you go.
Oh no, suddenly it's the most powerful stand!
Oh god!
Why is Kira covered in shit?
My guess, by the way, to any listener, this theory crafting probably is making annoyance to people, so I'll apologize in advance.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This is like anyone making who would beat who in a DBZ fight.
This is 100% absolutely just like my stand versus your stand. Let's go.
And for anyone who's enjoying it, it's all going to be in fan fiction.
Yeah, but this is what JoJo fans do. We all...
You try to make sense of the half thought out ideas that Araki puts out there, because they're awesome ideas.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah, but no, I think, but like, I guess to sort of get back to some of the part and such like this stuff like that. I always found it really sad that, like, while we're remembering the lost ones from Diamond is Unbreakable, goddamn Grandpa Higashikata gets no love. No one remembers him. No one cares. He's not a ghost.
He's the Ben Parker of the entire thing.
He sets it off, and then nobody cares.
He's Bob in Tenjo Tende's opening.
Oh god, no name card. Who's that dancing black man?
He's the coolest, but he gets no name card.
Do a cartwheel, dance.
Never even got a proper. Well, that's not JoJo's, but yeah.
Yeah.
Or Bob.
I fucking that every time I get so salty about that. The guy that's doing the windmill, who is he? He's black guy doing the windmill. Whatever. Anyway,
Blonde guy's friend.
But yeah, man, Daddy Jojo there, Granddad Jojo, he just fucking works hard as a cop. You know, he's a nice guy. He goes about town. Everyone knows him, and he gets it rough. He gets bitten off hard, and then when we're going through to like remember everybody that's fallen, we just leave him alone. We don't even give him a ghost.
Yeah, he gets nothing. He just like Randy doesn't even acknowledge that he passed.
Oh, they have that thing at the end, but I think that's a good sign because they moved on.
He's not even in the clouds.
No, that's what I'm talking about. He's not in the clouds in Great Days.
He was forgotten.
You know, some shitty kid that fucking collect the garbage picks for a day. Shigechi's fine. But I just mean, you know what I mean? You meet some bum kid and he's a weirdo and he gets in the clouds.
And it sucks because like his death scene is so sad.
It's tragic.
And like you see like you see like a different side of Jotaro in that scene as well.
The scumbag side where he's like, that which is dead can't come back.
No, but
he
says that thing with Josuke where it's like, your stand is the ultimate kindness or something
yeah,
like that.
but he tells him you can't bring back the dead, and it's like cut back to him dropping Dio blood in his granddad. And
then again,
like,
it's Dio blood.
Yeah.
But then that explains why Joseph isn't a vampire.
Yeah.
It's Jotaro's a shit, man.
He's not the best.
I mean, Jotaro could literally be like, well, you can't bring back the dead. I mean, I've got this mask here. It doesn't even give him the option.
Right.
Or maybe he was doing it so he can make Josuke angry so he can go looking for the arrow.
Yeah.
It was work.
Yeah,
Oh
I mean,
my god. What a piece of shit. And then he saw Starfish and thought, you know what? This is what I'm all about now.
Father of the fucking year, though.
Right?
I'm not approving of all the Jotaro hate in here. I think
what fucking Crazy Diamond can do?
Jotaro was my idol when I was in middle school, and it was the first JoJo I cosplayed. My first experience to him was Jump Superstars. He was on my team, also because he was broken, but I fell in love with that.
Well, I mean, that just explains the entire Stardust Crusaders right there. He's just a broken-ass character.
There's a part in Part 5 where something happens and someone gets hurt really bad. Imagine if Jotaro was standing around telling that person, hey, yeah, you can't bring back the dead.
Yeah.
It's kind of you can't bring
really?
back...
Fucker?
No, he's Jotaro, he's a complex character. I'm not gonna explain the subtleties of him to you plebs.
Yeah. No, his mom's a bitch and all that. Call her no respect. It's
I mean, he gets his moments. He's not a complex character though.
Yeah.
He's super simple. He is so simple. He is just the essence of ass kicking and not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
And to the point
that
when he was a 6-year-old child, he was capable of kicking the shit out of a grown ass man.
Yeah.
I will say, and I guess this is getting back to anime stuff. One character trait I noticed he developed is he gets a lot calmer and a lot more tactical. Mm-hmm. Because if you remember at the end of Part 4, he had to think and get really angry for a second before he can throw that punching barrage.
Yeah.
And throughout, because Josuke was losing his shit during the rat fight. Yeah. But he was keeping his calm even when his hand is fucking melted.
Yeah,
and then
that's always kind of been shit.
He fought Dio, which is the crucible that he went through to just be fucking chill. And then also he lost his best friend at that moment.
Yeah.
So he's
things were kind of not going his way.
Shit just got real.
Yeah.
That
turned around.
Though that rat fight was a really great setup for it was your passing the torch episode in one of the funnest ways because it's hey man, time for you to be the hero, new guy. And he's like, I don't want to be the hero. It's weird. Too much pressure. You know. But the moment that it comes down to is. At first attack happens, Star Platinum, bam, grab that shit, analyze it. What is that? Oh, I shouldn't have touched it. Right? Try it around. Okay, Josuke, what are you going to do? Ew, gross, get it away from me. Perfect. Nailed it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But even then, remember in Part 3 when he was just testing out different things on Rubber Soul, and then they just getting worse and worse, but you remember when... his finger was melted down.
Yeah, ice cream.
Yeah, ice cream. And it's just trying all these different things. But I really appreciate Jotaro as someone... He is like an evolution of Joseph, where Joseph, he'll bullshit his way through things, but he'll joke around or try to buy time. Jotaro, psychs out people constantly.
Mm-hmm. Just by being so tough.
Yeah, he'll write down notes on this is what you're gonna pick. This is how bad I'm gonna beat you up after I figure out how to defeat your stand.
Right.
It's the smoking. Smoking makes you cool.
Yeah. And calling your mom a bitch.
Yeah. Edgy 17.
Yo, you're a monkey. You aren't a human. You don't understand emotions.
I think the problem for Jotaro, and it's the same problem for Joseph, is that any JoJo who becomes a recurring character, they just expose what a shitty human being he is.
Yeah.
Like
The longer they stand around.
Yeah.
like Joseph, great stand-up guy. Kinda, sorta, you know.
Yeah, you should have faded away. The more we found out, the worse it got.
Yeah. But he saved the world. Yeah.
I know.
He probably lied about how he defeated cars.
Yeah.
What we were seeing in the anime was his storytelling.
Yeah, that's.
When actually it's like Strohenheim just punching the shit out of cars.
No,
I mean, if that's his storytelling though, like he makes himself look really fucking bad.
Yeah.
Cars defeated himself.
No,
and
but I
he's
mean,
just like,
no, the
gotcha,
anime is what we
fucker.
actually saw. He told everyone that he punched cars to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's like, oh yeah, no, I launched him into space with a clever strategy.
That
Kick
being,
the shit out of him, then played beer pong over his corpse.
Jotaro still does command respect though, and you do see that in the him and Koichi episode against Sheer Heart Attack, where he's like, all right, Koichi, do what I tell you to. It's a matter of life and death. You didn't do what I told you to. Now I'm almost dying. I'm about to die. You know,
And then he turns back around on that. He's like, okay, you earned this respect now.
yeah,
Yeah, but-
that was a nice moment for those two. I found.
Yeah.
Koichi, honestly, Koichi is the main character
Yeah.
of Diamond is
He's a
Unbreakable.
narrator, too.
Yeah.
Like he's
I'm
the
no
first.
unimportant. Yeah, okay.
He narrates it. He's the first character that we meet even before we meet Josuke. And
He gets the love interest.
he gets the girl.
He gets
no
the
matter
girl.
how insane that relationship
That's
is.
not a-
no
that's a
matter
very-
how
yeah.
no matter how unhealthy
Okay,
that
yeah.
relationship is.
I will say
Yeah.
that hand holding at the end turned me around 180 degrees.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't.
No, I'm-
If
did
she-
you forget a few things?
Yeah.
She learns her lesson.
Look,
I think
Does
that's
she,
the thing in
though?
JoJo. It's like once you get an ass beating, you're alright.
Yeah, you're
I
all
will-
right.
yeah, yeah.
Like, Akira
in
just
part
wanted to stay in
4,
jail
yes.
after that point.
yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I'll never tell anybody like to say no to your tsundere, but when someone is clearly yandere, get that shit out of your
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
For your own safety.
He's kind of just
Yeah.
hanging around with everybody.
But
and
I
I was
mean,
like, okay.
the whole point of the Cinderella arc was that she's like, okay, like I actually now appreciate what's great about Koichi, and I'm not like super insecure about myself anymore. And that
So I'm gonna
sort of
change up
reverses.
how I look.
no, but that sort of reverses up her because
And hopefully
in
this-
that arc she's desperate for him to like her, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end, like the stand power doesn't affect her at all. He's just like, no, I know this is your face because like
I've
Remember,
seen it
folks-
look at me
Connection.
while I sleep.
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to all think of your high school crush.
yeah.
And think of you now being forced to blind yourself to save the day for this potential maybe relationship.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do it.
High school crush, not the
Yeah.
true love situation.
What? This is
Yeah.
hormones.
Yeah,
I
no?
wouldn't-
Let's be, yeah.
Come
they just
on,
wanted
man.
to- They were
I
like,
wouldn't-
how old?
But
14?
Koichi's like
14,
Yeah.
15.
They're at that age.
Koichi's super self-sacrificing though.
Yeah,
And
to a fault.
He lets the power of love take. He lets the voice of love take him higher.
You let it. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
Because she
I-
is taller.
Yeah,
you gotta
yeah.
climb up that.
Koichi's also the only recurring character out of part 4.
He is.
Yeah.
Outside of
Jojo
like
appears for a couple
outside
frames.
of
Yeah.
A really, really awkward looking painting of everyone as babies.
It's like,
Mr.
wow,
Mr.
you lost
Jojo
a
himself.
lot.
And Rohan, of course, but you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
that's
doing his
part
own
6, yeah.
He's doing his own thing, but no, Mr. Jojo is Jotaro. And,
He is.
You know, that's-
100%.
Yeah. I guess like one thing that was interesting too was like I was waiting to see how they were gonna do Red Hot Chili Peppers like orgasmic moment when he goes
Yes.
nuts, and Akira did not disappoint. That
I'm
face
so
was
glad.
super ahegao or whatever, you know. Like,
Ahegao,
yeah, it was right on, and it's
You should
exactly-
know this. They're making Ahegao Academy.
I know. I just don't know how to say it. But yes, that fucking O face that he drops after doing a sick lick
Oh
And,
yeah.
and
Well, I mean,
it's
if
tasty
you
as fuck.
any guitarist or any musician knows that whenever you just hit it just right, you're like, yeah, and the crowd's
Even with a
fucking
broken
going.
finger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, he sacrifices, man.
The
Fucking
invisible
Zach
crowd.
Wilde was pulling off was shredding with a bleeding hand.
Yeah, Akira was great. And you know, he's just again, you're like shit tier mid Carter by the end of it, but like your resilience and the fact that he like sneaks onto the boat and puts the hat on, and then it's just like, but you're not as smart as you think.
No.
You know, that was great.
He really
He's
is
just
like
a petty thief.
Yeah, he's like the main boss for like the first couple episodes too.
for a while.
Yeah,
He's the first villain.
He's the midpoint arc boss, basically.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because like the stakes of Diamond is Unbreakable go like this.
Yeah.
And like
describe that shape. For
be
the-
so, okay, so
for the
he
audio
starts,
listeners.
Yeah, so like a U, not like a bell
Pythagorean
curve.
theorem?
It's the opposite of a bell curve because at the beginning, you've got he fights a fucking serial killer,
Right.
And
It
at
was
the end,
the worst thing ever.
He fights a fucking
he
serial.
fights a fucking serial
He
killer,
did, yeah.
and then in the middle.
Oh, that's so true.
And then in the middle, he fights a petty thief.
Yeah.
And he goes for lunch and has some of his organs fixed.
Yeah.
and a bunch of dumb kids, like some guy with like a statue that looks like you.
Yeah.
You know, and a Lockhart
The Lock,
guy.
yeah, that's like the most
and,
low
bunch of-
stakes arc.
And then going
Yeah.
just going eating your food and getting your stomach exploded.
Yeah.
Well, it was low stakes until his family got involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
He
when it was
trying
like,
to get all up in that mom. You don't mess with moms.
Oh god.
And yeah, like right before they start ramping up to Kira being a presence, what's the main arc? Oh, we got a money-making scam, and this guy wants more money than he deserves.
Yeah.
Excuse me while I clip my nails.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, in between taking down 2 serial killers, he has a lesson on sharing.
And taking care of a baby.
Yeah. You know, in a way, it's almost like you're growing up, Josuke. Like you're becoming
coming
like,
of age.
Yeah, it really is a coming of age story.
Man, the next couple of years of high school are going to be really boring in comparison.
Right? Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man. And
They are. Oh god, I can imagine like what happens after, like, cause there's no more stand users are gonna show up. There are no more arrows, so like that's it. Like any stand user that kind of like gets out of line, Joe's gonna be like, buddy, come on.
Josuke gets his quiet life.
Yeah, he gets the quiet life Kira's always wanted.
Exactly.
Hanging out with Rohan, yelling at
just-
each other.
Yeah, stealing ice cream.
Can we stop for a second and just appreciate also that like part 4 is literally Persona 4. I mean, or to be more accurate, Persona 4 is literally Diamond is Unbreakable.
It's very close, and the parallels are like unmistakable.
Like I'm straight up to the dead people popping out of telephone wires.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
secret culprit and all that stuff. High school powers, stop the murderer.
Archie dragging you through a TV.
Our quiet town, yeah, our quiet town. You know.
Secret culprit with like handshakes involved.
Yeah. I think no, I totally think you got something. It's true. But go ahead.
Okay, I guess getting back to anime before we finish up on that. I love all the additional things they added. Like with Stars Crusaders, they added like fixes for how Jotaro got a new jacket or how Dio's coffin works.
Yeah.
Like Force switched around the Cinderella and the Shigeki part, so it kind of flowed better.
Yeah.
Because otherwise,
totally.
you got Shigeki, then he dies, and that's
Yeah.
it. With Cinderella adds a part in the middle, and also gives a reason for why Kochi wasn't with Shigeki.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and like during the last fight, I thought it was a lot because when I was reading the manga, I thought the air bubble was moving faster than it was, but it was really, really slow. And you got to see like Josuke mentally try to figure out what's going on, how do I defeat this thing, and
yeah, and man, the way that he manipulates that to finally take care of Daddy Yoshikage.
Dude,
So satisfying.
Dude, so like that's like that entire sequence in the house. Like I think I brought this up another
did.
time, but yeah, like you get to see the process of like a JoJo outsmarting the villain, but not after the fact. It's not something that's like, hey, look, I secretly used Hammond to put my hair into a thing on the ground that trapped you.
Hey, look, I secretly put a magnet on your sleeve and my sleeve so that when you get close to me...
Right? It's not that. It's like, no, I'm in the process of thinking 4 steps, 5 steps, 6 steps ahead of you. I'm grabbing this vase. I'm breaking it. I'm lighting these matches, trying to look at this...
dust.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this bubble, trying to figure out what's going on here. And, like, those things all are, like, they lead into things that help him, like, down the line, but you're seeing it on the fly. I love seeing that process, because it's like, these guys are really, really fucking smart. And you as the viewer, like, the thing I hate the most in anime is when you're coddled as a viewer, and when
When
the
you're
anime
told what's happening.
and the anime treats you like an idiot. I hate those. I love it when you are at the exact pace of the character. But when the character is way ahead of you, it's just the best, right? You're like, I can't even keep up with what he's doing right now. And then you go, oh my god, that's what he was with the dried blood and the fucking you know.
But it's like an Encyclopedia Brown book. You're solving the puzzle with Encyclopedia Brown as he's figuring it. I don't know. Are you guys too old for young for that stuff?
perhaps, but he's solving it as
Okay, this Encyclopedia Brown is a series of books where you get basically a mystery that this kid detective solves. But in the way it's written, it gives you clues on how the things are figured out. So, like, someone stole some lunch money.
Okay.
You read, like, clues on, oh, there's a fingerprint on this vase here, or stuff like that. And
Okay.
at the end, you feel like a smart guy for figuring
because
it
you
out.
pieced it together before. Yeah, I see.
Or, like, the anime Case Close. If
Yeah,
you figure out the
Detective
solution,
Conan,
if you figure out who the killer is just by things you notice.
Right,
Like a bandage on the wrong hand and stuff like that. You're like, oh, I'm a smart guy.
Yeah, JoJo's good at that.
Sorry.
No worries.
We have our friend Super Bunny Hop.
Yeah,
Hey, you want to say something?
I'm in the bathroom.
Yeah!
He's pooping.
That's the best stand.
Super Bunny Hop's coming in to steal my camera for
Okay.
purposes. They have the Nintendo PlayStation here.
Yeah.
He's getting some footage of
I
that.
have some business. To
Where is that
attend
set
to. Thank you very much, sir.
That's
I
crazy.
don't know. Where is that set up?
It's in the video game museum, but yeah, I don't want to like say exactly where and when, but you may, depending on who you know, be able to play it in one of the rooms. Not likely, but that's
Possibility.
that at least happened last night.
Okay.
But it is here at this place.
Yeah,
That's cool.
it's somewhere out there.
All right. So that was an interesting little interjection.
No worries.
But oh god,
Anime scenes.
anime scenes, like they do so much with this adaptation in every single season to enhance the way that the story is told and make it better. Like it is the first season of the anime is so good to the point that I would say that Phantom Blood is almost unreadable comparatively speaking.
Some of those drawings, like
Yeah.
I will say there's some love for stuff like Jonathan thinking that if you throw a rock between your legs at a bird, you'll get good luck. Mm-hmm. Or something like that. I forgot why he did it. But it was like, or finding a chocolate under his pillow and freaking out over that as a special present.
Yeah, no, like, oh god, they've really nailed every part of this adaptation so far, and that's why I'm really excited to see what they do with the next parts.
Yeah.
I hope we keep going on this vector of just like push the art further and further,
Yes.
and just like try more weird experimental styles because it just suits the franchise so well.
Yeah,
Those transitions,
absolutely.
like Jotaro on the
yeah.
phone, he puts down the phone, he moves down, he's in a car.
I was
Right.
like a little bummed out we didn't get more of them in the later half of the series.
Yeah.
The
The
first
transitions
two
are
episodes
amazing.
were so strong.
Yeah,
You're not wrong. Like
they did downplay it a little, but like, man, everything with how Aqua Necklace like approaches and like suddenly you're looking at a new panel.
and I think I guess overall like the Enigma thing I was completely not expecting, and like I said, that blew me away. What I was expecting and hoping for and looking for, like the part I loved the most when I read it was in the middle of the Highway Star fight. there's a fucking baby carriage. I'm on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
How do we do this? How do you think we do this? Right? Dorara, blow your cycle up, fly over the baby.
Slow motion.
Right. Wink at that baby like, yeah, I'm a badass. And then land on your motorcycle. So I'm like, okay, you're gonna, that was a moment where I'm reading it and like you have a like, oh my god, get up, take a moment. That page was so sick, what he just did. You're going to animate this now.
Yeah.
You have a lot to live up to. And I think they totally pulled it off.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like, that moment was, they didn't stinge on it. It wasn't too, like, it wasn't too much of a low frame count on it. Like, it blew up and came back together just as stylishly as I wanted. And the baby looking at him for, like, a good 4 seconds, you know, in real time. It was great.
Even some of like the tiny little bits they added in, like there's some moments, I think it's in episode 2 or 3, where it's when Aqua Necklace is attacking the house and Josuke is running down the stairs and then grabs the banisters and jumps the whole stairs.
Yeah.
It's
Rohan
like,
does it
yes!
too. Rohan does it too. He jumps down
Really
the entire
honest.
staircase.
Yeah.
Because like when you're that age, you do that shit all the time.
It's your house.
Yep.
You know it.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's this like meme that Jojo isn't all that animated. Like that's something that a lot of like mid-tier anime like mid-grade anime commentators have said is just like, I'm not throwing shade or anything. I'm just like people who are like in the middle of the anime criticism game have said, it's not really animated, it's just a lot of post-to-post stuff. But when they go to action scenes, they visualize these totally impossible powers in the most beautiful and interesting way.
Even when Bites the Dust was going to use a stray cat in the stomach, and it stood like and like spinning around, and it's like that's some Gurren Lagann shit.
No, wasn't there a scene in like there was like the last episode when Kira hits Bite the Dust and like flying through the fucking space-time
Yes.
continuum? Don't tell me there's not good animation.
Now,
That was amazing.
And you got a hint of that from All-Star Battle, right? In the games, you kind of saw what that was going to sort of look like.
That move.
But
which
when
is
they
so cool
finally
in that game.
animate the full transition, and they're like, we're going into like planet Earth types of like through space and detail and time and like
when
all
you
that
first
is-
introduce your friend to Prague.
What is going on?
That's it, man.
Another thing I'd say about that is like I think it is very easy to look at the show and be like, man, it's got very limited animation. But when the keys, like some of the best keys in that show, like the Genga drawings, like the still shots that really matter, when they're drawn so fucking beautifully
Control
that you could just
V Koichi in the intro.
and like even the stuff they do with like the line width around the characters, like they vary it up, like it's all shit you could hang on your wall, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
it looks so good.
Yes.
And I'm okay with that because I think that fits well with like JoJo's.
That is JoJo is very much like that stylized post.
Well, if you look at the manga, like background characters, they look like shit. Like just deformed monsters. Even the main characters, if they're just off to the side, like Koichi, will have like 2 dots for eyes and stuff like that.
There's that one meme screenshot of like this stand's name is Show Off and it says Surface, right?
Yeah.
And like it's a really funny moment where like these translated names are goofy, but the screenshot itself is great because you're seeing like these colored backgrounds that are like half tone and some purples, yellows, and greens and things coming off them, and it's not just Josuke talking. It's like there's a ton of filters going on around him.
And like they'll even layer screen tone into the shadows.
Exactly.
It looks fucking awesome.
And it was like, that was just a random joke moment, but I'm like, oh yeah, right? Don't forget that looks incredible for 3 seconds, and you might not even register.
And like it might not be animation, but someone spent the fucking day on that still. You know?
And the thing is, like, people, I think people think that JoJo is just cutting frames to cut budget, but honestly, the stillness of like the poses is a stylistic choice. Like, Araki is all about that, like, hang on a moment of a character looking menacing.
Yeah, he's about that, like, you know, bang, the character hits the pose, and like your eye stays on that because of the work Araki's put into it, and I think like it's reflected in the anime. So yeah, when you hear people being like, it's got very limited animation, it's like, dude, you're kind of missing the point here, you know?
Those like slide in dojan moments in Great Days are perfect examples of that, of like build up, pop and hold, pop and hold.
Like there's
you
a
know?
rhythm to it, you know?
Absolutely.
I will say it's not perfect. There are some like because of time issues, basically, where like the first time Killer Queen pops up, there are a ton of memes about
Oh
that.
god,
But
yeah.
a lot of that stuff,
Is
including
fixed in
it, is
Blu-ray,
fixed
yeah.
into Blu-ray.
Oh yeah.
And in the next episode, they
First
show the same
version-
frame, and he looks so much better.
First version Killer Queen was rough.
I think even like the first shot of Kira for me was a little disappointing, just because like at that point in the manga, he's such a fucking intense, handsome looking guy,
Yeah.
and he looked maybe a little incidental. But like you said, I think it's all stuff that could get fixed in the Blu-rays.
And but that being said, like I'm just thinking of the first time he does show up, and you get that little piano, duh, 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 that kicks in as soon as he goes about his normal life, and you're just like, oh god, he's finally here. You know, that
this
was
is the song.
Even on that note, the sound design,
Yeah.
The scraping of the
God,
dead
yeah.
nail into his car when he's cleaning up the mess.
you know, whenever like the hand does like the space thing.
Yes,
Oh my
because
God.
the like I think everyone generally agrees that like the world is the best sound effect prior to this part.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Is it's such an amazing piece of sound design, and like part 4, like they do that, but all over the place. Yeah, the hand is a really good one.
I even
Well,
love how
The healing.
Yeah, the sound of the healing is it
Killer
works.
Queen has a sound effect too, and I didn't notice until after watching a YouTube video on it, but it has this like brrrp sound every time it does anything.
even
yes.
like Josuke's stand. Fuck.
Star Platinum.
Star
Yeah.
Platinum. No,
Sorry, Josuke. Excuse me.
Josuke,
Sorry.
we're all fucking up.
Wow,
Shining Diamond.
Shining Diamond.
That's the one.
Shining Justice.
The way like the machine gun goes off whenever he does an aura is so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Or even Red Hot Chili Peppers, when Akira goes off and you hear like the sizzling of the electricity coming through.
Yeah.
Like they have a lot of really specific sounds that are fantastic.
Also, just an important thing for Akira, they fucking nailed that guitar solo. Like they made it actually sound really, really good.
yeah. It was
Absolutely, man.
Hitting the right notes.
Yeah, and I guess just like a couple other like moments when the tension of, I remember like when I was reading it, the tension of when Kira is staring at Hayato from behind the tree, and you're like, why isn't he going up to him? What the fuck? Like in my head, that lasted like 10 minutes almost, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, in the show, it's probably gonna take like a second. He's gonna peek at him, and then he's gonna be like, "Oh, there's the face I'm looking for," and walk over. And you're like, "No." They held that moment really long because I'm like, it's really tense. And Hayato's like, "Why isn't he coming over?"
then he goes back.
Yeah. And you're like, "Fucking Kira!" Like they really got the timing down, and that's something that like it's easy to overlook as long as it looks good and sounds good and stuff, but like the rhythm of it is something that they understand as well, and that's worth commending.
Okay, because Stardust Crusaders, and I'll mess it up. Jotaro punches Steely Dan for 4 pages in the manga. I think 4 or 6. In the anime, it lasts a good 20 seconds.
Yes.
I can't wait for Giorno.
The punch fest.
Entire episode, please.
The re has to be like a 12 on 10. Like whoever's voice acting him at that moment has to let out the most, like go study all of fucking Dio's like lines and get the most guttural, like vampire-esque re that comes from your bloodline to let that out, to let that moment
Then
work.
that's gonna look really sick too. Like
Into the fucking trash you go.
Giorno's gonna be a really tough character to get like the right voice for, because he's got to be like soft and like sort of
very
approachable.
mature.
Yeah, because he's like a pretty boy.
Yeah.
He's an absolute, but then he's got to be able to go into like full on intimidating. You know,
it's a lot. It's a lot. I kind of like when I think of it, like, are you guys familiar at all with King of Fighters?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, do you know Ash Crimson?
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of voice that you need to pull off a Giorno, like soft kind of thing, and then like sometimes you have moments of just sinister explosiveness.
Or just straight like bring back Dio's voice actor.
That dude's fucking talented.
He is very
He has a
talented.
lot of different. He's done hundreds of
and he's like incredibly prolific, and I keep fucking it up because I thought it was Seiki Tomokazu, but it's not.
It's not
Takahiro Koyasu. Takahiro Koyasu.
He's a lot of Gundam villains.
He is fucking everybody, yeah, and he is fucking everybody. He's Dio. He's the best. But no,
He was
bringing
Deadpool.
him back to do that, I don't know.
That's like here's.
I feel
Think
like it would
about-
almost be a cop out in terms of like on an industry level.
On an industry level, it's a cop out, but like on a storytelling level, think about that like that audio cue that you're hearing of.
It
like,
would
he's-
make me. Your feelings about
don't
the
know what to
character.
feel.
Your feelings about the character would be always in conflict. You know, because like just thinking of goodbye, Jojo, like you automatically go like, oh fuck that guy, you know. You know, or and he's the only one that calls them Jojo, you know.
Yeah.
So to make that the protagonist now, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's another part.
Yeah,
That's
and
the-
they
that's
will
another
have
part
to,
that better be coming out.
Yeah, I guess we should get into talking about like semi-spoilery discussion of future parts.
Okay.
And we'll leave that for like half an hour-ish. I'll put a annotation on screen, but don't spoil any endgame stuff of any of the
But
future
events from anything that's not animated manga only now we're
Yeah.
allowed to talk
Yeah.
about?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
allowed to talk
Okay.
about in yeah.
There's a
I'm-
stand called Limp Bizkit.
Yeah. There's also a band.
And we're a great band.
That's pretty good.
My generation as the opening credits for part 6.
I did it for the Poochie!
Yeah.
Yeah, because I did it all. I'm waiting for like, because every time like the new series comes out, each character has their own like theme song, and like with Jotaro, it was definitely like a lot of jazziness because like his dad was a jazz guitarist, and then with Josuke, it was like I wouldn't know what music I'd categorize him in. For a
funky.
sense of it is
the
very
soundtrack's like
funky.
a lot
It's
of kind of swing,
funk and
like
soul.
kind of
yeah.
Yeah.
So with Giorno, because he's like in Italy too, I'd like to hear some horns and stuff
Something
like
a
that.
little aristocratic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much so. Yeah.
Or it could go the opposite direction, like Eurobeat sounding stuff.
Oh god. Or Sex Pistols is there too, so it might be like something really punky. Maybe
I love Mista so much.
He's the best. He's so great.
Speaking of the animation, I'm so I always forget Rewind, guys.
Moody Blues
Moody
guys.
Blues.
Moody Blues, yeah, I've always
Abacchio.
Yeah, Abacchio.
But you.
But the Moody Blues episode, seeing that animated is
Oh,
gonna be
because it's
so
gonna have the
trippy.
dance.
And
Okay, so like the dance, I've commissioned an artist to animate that already, and then seeing it in the
All-Star
games,
Battle.
you kind of get a hint at like
Yeah.
what it looks like in movement with the crotch chop.
Yeah.
But we need the final definitive version.
We need to know.
right, with everyone sliding in and completing it together.
Yeah.
I can't wait. That I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the backstory chapter with Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
That I believe it only comes in at the end, right?
yeah.
That thing I really liked actually a lot more than a lot of the part. I think that's going to be interesting to see.
And,
The Metallica
I want to
fight.
see
That's gonna be
It's
It's gonna be
I would see
bloody
someone
as fuck.
spitting out razors.
I want to see a
Jesus, yeah.
fucking scissor coming out of a neck.
What's the name of that guy? And his stand is like a suit he can wear, white something.
White. God damn it! I
White
just
Album.
had this White Album.
Yeah,
Yes,
I love that fight. I can't wait to see. You know
Some
the
moments.
the Muda stomp at the end is like beautiful.
Yeah, and what is the King Crimson sound effect going to be?
how
Like-
are they gonna visually do King Crimson?
There's actually a-
how are they gonna do that in the OP?
I don't like. I mean, they're clearly just gonna fuck with everything, and then we had theories about that, didn't we?
like maybe
We
like
talked
maybe
about
they
that.
just skip through parts of the OP, or like maybe there's like a thing in the foreground of the OP, and then suddenly it's a different background. That thing's still there, and you're like,
Yeah.
So the crazy-
we noticed them in the
Yeah,
background.
Yeah. The moment of like thought porn, OP porn we had when we were talking about how imagine if the intro has a bunch of cuts and then the final version of it actually shows you that those cuts were the same moment, but you're seeing the time that was swiped away. If the whole OP is one continuous shot, that would be And what you're watching is the King Crimson
Yeah,
I
version
could
of
see
it.
that. They're just like walking through like alleyways and all that shit.
Different cuts and whatever.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
Gangstar on the
Yeah.
roll. You
Well, now
know?
we're going to disappoint ourselves.
I know, but that's a really good way to get
Yeah.
the power on
But,
display.
yeah, the alternative is like you've got to have something that like makes sense uncut, and then you cut it together, and it's like the equivalent of those like Mad Magazine back pages,
Oh,
but
you
in
fold it
editing where
together?
it like makes sense in a new way.
Yeah, maybe. This is jumping a bit further ahead, but part 6. All I know is if you don't get Shoko Nakagawa to sing your intro, you fucked up. You fucked up. I think straight up, like, she's
Yeah.
the JoJo fan that is also does anime OPs and has the voice and proved it with her cover of Sonochino Sadame that she can do tough girl.
Was she the voice actor in All Star Battle, or was that someone
Shoko
else?
Nakagawa is the she sang Sorero Days for Gurren Lagann.
Okay.
Okay.
And a couple of other things.
A couple other things, and then she did a cover of Sonochino Sadame. And
She also threw out her back doing a pose.
Yeah, and you can hear her like she's singing from the chest kind of thing. Like she's singing in the way that like you would for a Fist of the North Star intro.
Yeah.
You know? And she's nailing it really hard, and you're just like, okay, yeah. Jolene, the badass in Green Dolphin Street Prison, like, you need that kind of person singing the OP for it.
Yeah.
She also had an interview with Araki while dressed as Jotaro, and it's slightly cringeworthy because
Yeah.
it's like
It's
they
pretty
have
embarrassing.
Your guys' fans memeing you and then just talking to you constantly.
The way she keeps like,
Lick-
is that Waldo?
She licks the TV with Jojo.
That's
Jojo
her.
on it. That's the one. She's
boy.
nutty, but she can sing.
Yep.
Yeah.
She can sing.
I appreciate her hustle.
I mean,
And she loves JoJo.
Yes.
Like, you turn that around, and she made fucking Sorero Days.
Yeah.
Like, the anime theme song.
At the end of the day, man, like,
Yeah.
Jolene deserves no less, in my
Yeah, I
opinion.
fucking love Jolene. She's so cool.
Yeah.
Poochie, I think the voice they got for him in All-Star Battle, I really hope they keep it. It's not a guarantee because Josuke's voice got like switched around, and not every game voice actor was there, but the voice they got was, I forget his name again, but he's a priest and a lot of other stuff. And
and Hellsing
was it- was
too?
it-
he's the he's Anderson in Hellsing.
God.
He's a priest in
Typecast.
Was he in Fate or
yeah, he's a character in Fate Stay Night, absolutely, and he's
Yeah.
got this really like deep voice to him, and like he's in Melty Blood as well as Nero Chaos. Yeah,
Nerve and Squir?
Nerve and
as I recall.
Squir, yeah, and like that guy, to me, that's what Poochie should sound like, you know, just
Yeah,
like
very.
devout, religious, and fucking out of his mind.
Yeah.
Speaking,
Well, I mean, let's not get into that.
yeah. Speaking of Poochie, like,
He had to leave
With-
to go
with-
to his
Back to his home planet.
what if with the OP for part 6, everyone gets 1% faster?
Every time,
I mean,
it's the OP, but every time they say insert word here, it gets, faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I don't know how I'd feel if they added a meme in an anime opening.
maybe the intro is all going sideways, you know, at some point.
yeah.
Maybe, like, things are moving, sliding in a way where you think, oh, that's a cool visual effect, and it's like, no, that's gravity.
Yeah,
I was thinking he wasn't in Fate, but however, he's also Vanilla Ice in the anime and also Eyes of Heaven.
There you go.
It's really weird because both of them love Dio a whole bunch.
There you
Yeah,
go. Perfect.
maybe. Well, I mean, if he's already Vanilla Ice, will they bring him back as Poochie? I don't know.
They've futzed around with casting.
Oh no, he is in Fate. He is the dad of the chick.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, we know that guy. What's his name?
The priest guy.
If you're looking at it.
Tosaka Tokomi.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about an intro for part 6 that like might involve like I guess perhaps towards the end of it, or maybe like the last version of the intro, like
Yeah.
the camera kind of would move up a bit, and then like with each episode reveal a bit more of like the moving upwards to quote unquote heaven or the sky of some kind, you know, like some sort of like build up, because I feel like that's going to be a series that has no less than 3 intros, you know,
Yeah.
considering its length and such.
It was a little weird that I guess not really weird, but it kind of made sense that Diamond is Unbreakable had 3 intros, because you had the one that's like introducing these characters. This is the town. It's kind of funky. Then you see like we have to find the serial killer who did it. So the chase. And then once the serial killer's found, it's like the last couple episodes. This is his life. Now you have to figure out how to defeat him in this Criminal Minds episode.
Let's get some justice.
And like in part wise, you're going like 1 intro, 2 intros, 3 intros. Like, do we just keep escalating,
Yeah.
or do we stop there? You
That's
know?
true.
I don't think you need to have 4 intros for any given part,
No.
except for maybe Steel Ball Run. Every section of the race is its own intro.
It's a
Yeah.
long intro.
right. Every stage. How about that?
Yeah.
That'd be good. Yeah, man. I don't know that like Steel Ball getting animated is going to be insanity because you know that like the way to do it nowadays would be to just get CG horses, but they're probably gonna not do that. They're probably gonna do it the good way and animate some fucking horses, and it's gonna be long and expensive and amazing. Because they have the money now.
Yeah, I mean,
They will.
JoJo is insanely popular and profitable, not just in Japan, but in the West, finally.
Yeah, finally.
And it's crazy because I was listening to Anime World Order podcast, and it was from like 2001, and this was just after the original JoJo's Part 3 OVAs came out, and they're all saying like, man, it's such a shame, JoJo's will probably never catch on in the West. And then like, fast forward like 15 years and here we are, and it's like every con there's cosplayers, like every like anime shop you go to there's JoJo's.
There's even a panel in 4 where Joseph is asking Rohan, hey, why aren't your manga in English? And he says, oh, it's because they're not popular over there.
JoJo.
That was another thing that was cut in Part 4.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. No, it was, yeah.
What?
When
Joseph says, hey, I'm a fan of your work, Rohan. Why aren't your works in English? English people don't understand it.
that wasn't in the anime.
Right, okay.
I guess
that's
that's
they understand it now.
No, JoJo won't catch on in the West. That's why we have to make Diesel. Diesel, the greatest. We have to make Diesel for the West.
That's
my
the comic
God.
that Araki ripped off, wasn't it?
That's the
Yeah,
one.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's
he
the one.
shouldn't have done that.
It was really blatant.
Yeah.
It was embarrassing for Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't know what we're talking about, look up JoJo and then Diesel.
The inspiration for JoJo.
I'm still expecting Araki to apologize.
At
One
some
of these
point.
days,
Yep.
when he stops aging, because he looks so old.
I read Diesel on stream during my 100,000
Yeah.
subscribe special.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, just, I was like, I had nothing else to do.
I
No
was there.
games
I
were-
brought
yeah.
that up to everybody because I'm like, how have you not heard about the source material behind JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
I mean, first Taite Kubo rips off that guy, the singer's son.
Yeah, that guy, right?
And
How
then, like,
dare
Japan
he.
should be ashamed.
Yeah.
Yeah, the,
Diesel Kimyo no Boken.
Whatever-
It's clearly. Like,
oh god, yeah, whatever Simmons.
Yeah,
Gene Simmons.
Gene
Simmons'
Simmons.
son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Richard.
I think, like,
So, real dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
when we get to Steel Ball Run as well, like, despite the fact that no one has a color palette, like, Gyro. In the game, they say Gyro.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say Gyro. His fucking garish ass green and blue neon burning colors is gonna be amazing.
He is riffraff.
I can't wait, man.
I want to see I want to see shading on the parts where there's holes in his hat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
There had better be some, like, also in regards to Steel Ball Run, there better be some really fucking sweet distortion effects on the spin.
Oh yeah, yes.
Oh,
A
yeah.
good,
I wanna hear the
a good
sound.
sound effect
Yeah.
for it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I want a really well voice acted nya-ha-ha. Yeah.
I just, like...
I'm so excited for an animated voice acted pizza mozzarella.
And just like I want the most like ridiculous twinkle swing when he flashes the goddamn grills.
Oh
Let
god.
me see your grills.
Yeah.
Rob a jewelry store.
Go Zeppeli.
One color palette thing I noticed. There's one color palette thing I have a problem with in part 4. Rohan's pants are connected to his shoes, his shoe pants.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were like this weird olive color that you couldn't really tell that his shoes were like connected to his fucking pants. And that's a really awesome costume because it's like a preview for all the crazy ass shit we get in part 5.
If the animators figured out how to draw Jotaro's hat hair, they can do anything. Anything, dude.
Yeah. What I'm super excited for, because we're talking about Steel Ball Run, especially for animations, when the True Man's World, when things go back in time.
Oh god, yes.
Why?
And music stops.
Why is Ringo Road again so cool?
He's such a
I can't get over that part.
I am imagining when at the end when
It's so good.
I guess this would be a spoiler when he's defeated and like he's moving back and you see like the blood kind of coming out. I'm thinking like fucking focus pulling of like the blood and like
Something.
it's gonna
Don't
look
just play it
cool.
straight. Yeah.
It's gotta look good.
What does the light with D4C, what does the light look like? Ooh. Right? Because you're seeing how that looks
Red,
on
white,
paper.
and blue, buddy.
Yeah! Because
America.
you're seeing how it looks on paper, and you're like, it's clearly just a I don't know what it is, but it's just shining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But like, it's so hard to make sense of what you're looking at on the manga page.
I mean, in the video game, I really like how they do it in the video game, where he like pulls you in, and then it just pulls down to an upside down version
of the
same
world.
stage.
Yeah.
That you and fuck the Dyson Cube explosion.
Oh my
as
God.
you see yourself, and it's like,
Oh man, yeah. That's gonna be real animation right there, dude.
I think even like when you look at Araki's like layouts in part 7, like they improve so much over previous parts, and how that's going to translate actually on screen, I think is going to be so fucking interesting.
oh god.
Can you imagine the fucking part right when they in part 6 when they're going towards the end and they get out of the prison and fucking animated characters start coming to life? Like what that's gonna look like in animation?
Yep.
Yeah.
Obviously no Disney characters, but like
Well, I mean, there were no Disney characters in the manga.
no,
either.
but they're all close rip-off types.
Picasso. So it's just there.
Van Gogh shows up. Oh,
Yeah, but
man.
Van
What are
Gogh,
they gonna
yeah.
do? How are they gonna draw that? You know, just I guess just do it.
They'll
there
just
to
do the
hold
stuff
back.
they do with the stands. It'll be like, oh, it's you, Ronald Mouse.
I hope they're drawn weird like the puppets in part 3.
yeah.
They're kind of like
Boingo
flash
style,
animated,
too.
but they're really weird.
Or you going boing.
They will. Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, the
Terrence
Darby, his doll collection,
yes,
and they
yes,
aren't
yes.
animated like anything else in the show. They're
You're
like
right.
really, really flashy.
Really
animated.
very cell shaded and all that.
They've got the skill, man. I believe it. I believe in them. I think like that is probably what's going to be the most challenging to animate. When it comes to part 8, I'm still too early, so I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
Part 8's like a lot of simple and easy to understand powers. A lot of the time.
It's super
Sometimes.
small scale.
Sometimes.
This is soft and wet for me is a
Oh
little
god,
still
the
like
beetle fight in part 8.
That's gonna be a fun.
Beetles! Like it's just it's weird how sometimes in the manga like you see a fight and you're like, that's not really that interesting. But when you actually see it animated, you're like, this is the fucking greatest.
Like
thing I've ever
Enigma.
seen. Like Enigma, like Tower of Grey,
What does Shakedown Alley look like when it's moving? This is just like
Yeah.
like as the leaves move, sure, but what about the things that it's you know what I mean that you're
Yeah.
translating into? Like how does that
or the
look?
man who like 7 dudes come out of him. Like that's gonna look sick.
Oh, with the newspaper hair.
yeah.
Newspaper hair, man. Absolutely.
That's one thing I love about like seeing JoJo's animated, because like as amazing as Araki is, like sometimes you do hit a chapter where you're like, wait, what?
Like Joseph's
And
road trip.
you need to and like you need to like reread it a couple of times, and then you're like, oh, okay, I get what's going on here.
I hope they explain how what's his face ended up halfway through that grate at the end of part 5. You know, the King Crimson, the King Crimson's cut, and it's like,
Oh, Naranchi,
yeah. What?
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
with Naranchi, like, what happened? What would have happened there in that 10 seconds
To make
fragment
this-
of time to put him up there?
I hope they go like backwards and explain it, because the actual cut of like, oh fuck, is like it hits you so hard, because it's like he was there, now he's gone.
like Kakio, how to handle Kakio.
Because
Yeah.
King, like the thing is with King Crimson, he's kind of one of the most limited stands because he can't interact during the edited time. He can only just like avoid stuff.
He's subject to it too.
Because I mean, when he tries to kill, you know, who within the edited time, we're not going to spoil everything in this podcast, but that fucks things up for him later because then that character can't die.
I'm trying to think of too, like what it's gonna look like, because you know that is true. But I'm just like going right before that, and first of all, the setting of 5, just being in Rome and in Italy is gonna visually
so
be
beautiful.
gorgeous, right? And you know they're gonna be accurate to it. They're gonna get the color
better.
perfectly. And like I'm like just thinking like you could just spend a ton and make like Oasis swimming through the ground look like the coolest thing in the world, right? The animation of swimming and like fucking breaststroke, you know, underneath the earth and like going through it like that could look so interesting if you put a lot of animation into that. You know,
I'm excited to see like how I hope they put a lot of animation into Giorno morphing inanimate objects into animals and
Like
shit.
having to replace his eye and shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I mean,
or even when Purple Haze like makes the dude's like face just melt.
Ugh.
Well,
I'm
that's
expecting
fun.
some.
It's all going to be in black. It's all going to be in black.
I mean,
For
until
TV.
the
Yeah,
Blu-ray.
for TV.
but
Yeah, no, for sure.
Some of those Blu-ray cuts are fucking gruesome. Like,
Oh, God.
horrific.
Even from the first 3 seconds of JoJo Part 1, the driver who crashes when, all of them get crashed,
yeah.
he has a fucking, spike through his mouth.
That's
What?
pretty much where it sets you. It's like, oh, it's like, yeah, no, it gets worse.
Watch us get to the Blu-ray version of Diamond is Unbreakable and the ambulance running over Cheers. It's like 20 seconds long.
They zoom in on it.
Slow motion, just like...
Every click, every crick.
They did skip out on Dio driving over people, though, did they, in the Blu-ray?
They did,
Okay,
yeah.
that's a shame. We
Where
missed Waldo getting killed.
well, you can
That's probably why they had to
you
cut
can
it.
you can
Yeah,
always
exactly.
go back to
Either
the,
keep Waldo or get rid of it.
you can go back to the Satoshi Kon version, which is
Yeah.
Which
way more brutal and gruesome than
yeah.
anything.
There
we've
were
seen.
some good cuts in that.
I
Oh,
still,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
stand
Yeah.
by that. Like, as much as and as perfect as they got it with the new adaptation. The old JoJo OVAs has a lot of awkward shit, but Dio's power usage is way more interesting. And Satoshi Kon does some amazing stuff with like seeing Dio's powers used when you're not in his POV. Like you're outside of the time jumps, so you just see the results happening. And the two moments that stand out to me are one when he keeps picking up the driver and
Senator, you're talking about Senator Williams, and keeps him looping through the
he
same car.
runs through the crowd and gets back in the car.
I thought that was actually like a lot like that version was way more effective than what they did.
Totally.
Because the other one, it was like a little clumsy.
Teleport.
and-
Yes,
Yeah.
it was just a teleport.
But the
yeah.
Satoshi Kon was like you're actually watching it, going, "What the fuck is happening?"
He's running
Yeah.
through an infinite looping background, and he's just as confused as the viewer is, right? And then later, when Dio, like after his leg gets split through the getting punched through the thing, and he gets back up, and he's pissed off, and he's walking towards Jotaro, and you're seeing like the world just get affected by the world. You're seeing a stop sign blow up. You're seeing a
Yeah.
glass
He
shatter.
gets a cut on
Like,
his face, and he's
right.
just toying with it.
And like and Dio is just walking, and nothing's happening, but you're seeing the effect of a stand to a
Because
normal
it
human
totally
being.
ties into his power, but it's loose enough that if you don't know what's happening, it could literally be anything.
And it's magic,
Yeah.
and you're just like you're a human being with no stand in awe of this guy that's making things happen somehow, and it's fucking great. And those are two things that were effective at selling Dio that the new show didn't do.
Yeah, I totally agree.
But the new show is trying to be more faithful to the manga.
There's
Of course.
there's one moment when you suddenly see Nukasaku inside the coffin, and you get that really foreboding essence. We need to get out of here now. We're in this room trapped with Dio. It's becoming nighttime. They all just jump out the window, and then they all describe like, I felt a chill up my asshole and stuff like that.
I mean, oh god, Nukasaku in the coffin. I love all of the times that Dio just uses time stop to fuck with people.
He's a scamp.
Like he
Pulled
did.
her up on the stairs.
You have to imagine Dio running down, pulling off one stair down, runs back up, pose, and like stop time again, run, pull him down, pose.
And on the way back, he's gonna be like, "I'm so fucking funny."
He's just like, this is fucking hilarious. or yeah, with Nukasaku just putting him inside the fucking.
It was me in the
right,
coffin.
true.
That bit killed me.
Like there was no purpose to doing that except to just fuck with it, or the effort that he has to go to fucking get out of his chair, limbo underneath every single cobweb in that room,
Yeah.
just to get behind a whole horse for that one spook.
Which also like is effectively it didn't work when going around the cobwebs you mentioned, but like if you think about Hierophant Green like stretching out, like he totally didn't do the ducking around the cobwebs. In fact, he popped them all. You know,
He popped and he gave the game away.
Yeah, he really did.
God, yeah.
Oh, and it just reminded me too of there's a third thing that the Satoshi Kon OVA actually does really, really cool. Is at the end of one of those scenes, I think he remind me if I'm wrong, but like I think he's holding a wine glass or something, and at one point he just disappears, right? But he leaves the glass in place.
I want to say I remember seeing that.
So you just see Dio standing there, and then no sound effect. silence, nothing is gone, and the wine glass just falls on its own. And like the fact that there's nothing to like cue you in, there's no
fart sound.
nothing goes off. You just see, boop, the cell's gone. It was terrifying. It was really, really scary.
I think if they can nail that feel with King Crimson, that's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe almost no sound effect.
Yeah, maybe
until,
like a complete undersell.
until the reveal was the way to do it. Like, and then that's the end of my sentence. You know?
So Jotaro has one of those funny time stop moments too, because when he ends up somehow beneath the sewer that Dio's trying to reach, he had to get around Dio, get under the sewer, and then wait there for Dio to pull the lid up.
Oh, God.
I smell so bad.
That's a bunch of shit that, like, King Crimson is probably the biggest challenge.
There's a lot of ways you could take it. I think it's going to be interesting to see what
And it's going to be none of the things we talked about.
No.
Part
Hopefully
6,
cooler.
I want to see everyone turn to fucking snails.
Oh my god.
Fuck, that's gonna be weird.
Heavy
Snail sonas.
Yes.
Heavy weather is like the stupidest stand.
It's the most. It's crazy.
It's
busted.
biblical.
No, it's simple. The rainbow touches you and you transform into a snail.
But- or you
It's
just look at the rainbow,
it's an
you don't have to touch it.
allegory, people.
but
But then your nipples turn into shells.
like I love how that's the real power of a guy who's already fucking Storm, the most powerful X-Men.
Better Storm,
Yeah.
smarter Storm,
Yeah,
And Frog
with a
Raid.
nicer hat.
yeah.
who hates the KKK.
Yeah.
I love that one scene where they go in and I think Weather Report's in like a diner and he's just acting like a fucking creep and everyone's like, what Weather Report?
Yeah, it's like, oh no, he got his memory back.
And he's just like, oh, you were never a good dude.
He's immediately around 2 bitches.
Yeah. This is great.
I'm gonna kill my fucking brother. You guys want to come? No.
How great would it be if, like, in the name of accuracy, when Anasui first shows up, Anasui's gonna be a girl, and then immediately after the first shot, it'll be a guy.
I almost kind of wanted to stay a girl in a
'Cause,
way.
like,
I loved her design as a girl. I thought she looked awesome.
It was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool, and like I like, just for the sake of fucking accuracy, I
Because they
would.
kept Iggy accurate for the
Yeah.
most part.
Yeah, he looked like a dog, and then later he gets a human face.
But then the flip side of that is they never showed original Jotaro. Do you know how Jotaro looks in like the first panel of Stardust
He has
Crusaders?
this weird pin sticking out of
He
it.
has like a hole in his hat that his hair pokes up out of. It's fucking weird.
when he's sitting in the jail cell.
Yep.
I don't think I noticed the change in the design there. Let's not talk about how he got all those things.
Yeah.
And how stands originally had no limitations to where they could go and what they could do.
And they were originally called Spirit Haman.
Oh, really?
Oh, right. Originally, it was supposed to be an
I was corrected
extension of
on
Haman.
this. Yeah, it was supposed to be a
Ripple Ghost?
Yeah, Ripple Ghost.
But oh my god, the there's lots of little things that don't make sense still. Like, for instance, the magnet ploy. How would magnetism work in frozen time?
I think it's when he gets close
Well,
to
they're
things and
miracles.
touches them, he can make them time work again. Like how he throws the knives, and when they get farther away from him, they stop.
Yeah, objects still maintain their
that's
properties, right? A knife in the stopped time can pierce your flesh.
But it's stuff that Dio is exerting physical force on, right?
Also, it's an anime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's an anime.
More
It's
importantly,
an
it's
anime.
JoJo's, so you're kind of like,
Yeah.
But I mean, we spent all this time figuring
Yeah,
it out.
exactly, and I remember like having so much fun thinking about the idea that like maybe time stop isn't actually time stop; it's just hyper perception.
He's
which is
just
what's-
moving so fast.
Yeah,
that
hyper
a second
precision.
stretches out to 10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly, and it's like no, because that makes things float, and that doesn't explain how you get the cat's arm in the guy's juice while he's sipping the fucking thing. You know, like he doesn't explain that. So fine, stupid theory craft, but yeah. I don't know, man. I think this is it's. Are we full? We're not full spoilers for ending things, but Steel Ball Run has many levels of spoilerish things.
Yeah, we can't even talk about.
I can't get into. All right.
Yeah,
I'll leave it
I
alone.
mean, like,
but
I don't want to
the
spoil Steel Ball.
thing that goes down after the other thing, that in animation has some stuff that I want to see and hear.
Yeah.
And that's all I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, without spoiling anything, Araki does reuse some concepts for stands sometimes, you know, like he's like, I could have done cooler stuff with this. So if you've ever been like, you know, there's probably some cooler stuff that could have been done with Time Stop. or with
Other concepts.
or other concepts like that, keep reading JoJo is what I'll say, because they, yeah.
Chocolate Disco.
Chocolate Disco.
What
That's the
a
name of my
fucking
stand.
name.
That's the only thing I'm gonna say to you.
Ashton Kutcher, how dare you?
That's all I got. And they're like, yeah, at this point, we know the dance. You know, like, stand user comes out, that's the name of my stand. Figure out the rules. I'm not going to tell you. Here we go. Grid appears on the ground. What the fuck is happening now? You know?
So, I mean, I guess that's an interesting point of discussion to have. What would everybody here's stand be? Let's go full.
Okay, we're going full fan fiction. All right. Well,
Jeez.
it's because I've already answered this so many times, and it's been brought up a lot of times and stuff. So for me, I've always said that like Rage Against the Machine would be the name that I take, because I can't believe it hasn't been used. And it's such a good name for a stand. And as far as like to make abilities work with the name, I guess it was like the idea that the longer. Like, and basically, like, the longer it touches you, you can become more enraged to the point of being, like, completely irrational and a babbling, angry idiot. Or you can get pacified and go the complete opposite way, and basically your anger is a spectrum where you can become extremely passive or extremely aggressive. And that would just be bad.
So like the Fight Club stand.
Well, yeah, but not really, because Survivor's Survivor,
yeah,
and
Survivor's great.
that's my favorite stand, and I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? Like, I want to make the world a fighting game. Yeah, sure, I'll take that. You know, I have no problem getting hit with that stand anytime you want it, man. You know, but no, just like it was just I like the idea of like the name Rage Against the Machine for a stand, and the fact that it's never been used. I'm like, I want that one.
Yeah, that is a good stand name.
I think I'd like the idea of like, I'm never going to be like the big bad guy of an arc because I'm a tiny Irish guy, but I'd like an ability that would let me fuck with the heroes as much as possible. And so I'd like I can control them for 5 seconds if they're in my range, you know, because you can mess with them that way, or you could totally fuck them up.
That
5 seconds, almost too long. Maybe like 2.5.
So
not enough time to stab yourself in the face. You
So
know?
interesting thing. That's the superpower of the main character in Charlotte. Which is the worst anime that came out last year.
Oh, that was last year.
That was the Angel Beats guy wrote it, and it's fucking atrocious. It's like X-Men, but less interesting.
Creative use of that power, right?
But yeah, so the main character, he can possess anybody else, but he passes out for the 5 seconds that he does it.
Oh yeah.
And it's
Do they not do anything like...
he uses it to cheat on tests and fuck with people. And
it's Ino.
and then
Naruto.
And then at the end, it's revealed that his power is actually anybody he possesses, he steals their superpower. He just luckily, like, he gets their superpower, and he can
like a deck of bucks.
Yeah, make it so that they can't use it forever. And then there's an arc where he goes around the entire world stealing people's superpowers. He goes around the entire world stealing the superpowers of every person with superpowers so that the government can't use them to exploit these kids, because superpowers are puberty and all of this shit. And he gets amnesia because he's stolen so many powers, and it like ruins his life, but then he finds love at the end. And that arc takes place within a single episode because it's the worst paced fucking anime in the history of television.
Christ.
Oof, Jesus.
Yeah. He fights like 3 different organizations and 20,000 people with superpowers in 30 minutes.
That is
Awful.
horrendous, and thank you for placing the speed bump down there.
Don't watch an anime called Charlotte.
Do not watch it.
I'm going to hell.
Charlotte.
John,
tell me
do you
what
have
to
a name for that stand? Because if not, I'd like to recommend one, but if you do...
Okay, hit me.
Do you have one?
I'd like to go with Break Stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. I'm stealing that from a friend, by the way.
Okay.
Sorry, Rebecca.
Oh, that's fine, because I was going to say, like based on what you described, I'd call it Where's Your Head At?
That's good. That's good.
I like it.
Anthony.
Well, I mean, if I was to ever have a stand name, it'd be Crack the Sky, which is a Mastodon album. I'm really bad when it comes to like picking superpowers for myself, because I like for other people to like choose. So I do. Since you came up with the name for him, what would my superpower
Crack
be?
the Sky?
Crack the Sky.
Ooh.
It's a concept album, so if you knew a little bit about that, maybe that helped.
Just going on the wording. That sounds like possibly lightning of some kind would strike you or somewhere around you, or I don't know.
Maybe like an attach stand where like I can attach it to somebody and then like it could cause like a timer, or maybe like for example if there's like any kind of electricity close by, it goes in from that, or if there's some kind of power source or like any kind of like kinetic energy that is close by will then attract to the person that my stand is connected to.
I liked like the idea of like the sky like visibly like being fucked up or destroyed in a way though.
You want an overpowered version?
I guess. Yeah.
Okay, make it...
This is my arrow.
Make it sort of like a Poochie stand, where you force time to go ahead 12 hours, so it turns so the sky cracks from day to night.
And basically...
Or like stars just come by, but that's already a stand, like meteors show up.
Time is advanced 12 hours.
Time is advanced 12 hours.
Oof, that's a long time. You can't control what the fuck's gonna happen there.
Like a 12-hour time skip stand.
Yeah.
Or,
that'd be great if you're working retail.
Like, crack the sky, it just, like, what that makes me think of is, like, the actual sky, like, cracking
shattering
open.
like glass.
And then, like, an eldritch horror comes out of that or something. or just...
random effect of some kind, random weather effect, or not weather necessarily, but something, you know what I mean? Like you have a visible, cool cue of the sky cracking open.
I just feel like if you name a stand after like a music or an album or anything, you actually, if you see the album and you listen to it, you kind of understand like musically what it is, so that way you get a better sense of like, okay, so this is what this album is about, this is what this song is about, this is what it looks like, okay, I can imagine this, how would this work in a fight, okay, it would be like this. But those are good ideas.
How about the idea of like the person that you put it on? It's like it's automatic, and the person you put it on basically has a almost like glass sky ceiling that like limits where they are, and it gets closer and closes in on them as time goes on.
So they have to figure out where I'm at. I'm like, I'm just chilling. You got to find out where I am.
And maybe the weakness is that you have to be in the circumference of it or something to kind of, but like or they have to crack the sky physically to get through where you put the sky around them. I don't know, whatever.
That's a cool idea.
We're doing fan shit.
I like that.
We're fanning up.
Yeah.
Or it could be something as simple as you just trap them inside a snow globe.
As simple as that.
Just as simple as that.
Mom.
Okay, so I'm into remote stands, and I'm also into psychology. So one thing is, I'll probably be able to sound like some dumb minor villain, but what it is it draws one person's attention to or away any kind of specific object. So like this guy here would be going through his town. He would be suddenly drawn across the street to something, though it's a like a busy intersection, and he knows he's saying, this thing's drawing my attention, this like radio song I'm hearing or something like that, or I can push him away from things they're trying to reach. I guess it would be kind of like the memory stand from part 6.
Interesting.
Yeah, so you can, and then I would use it for pay things like, robbing people, so they'd be detentions elsewhere while I'm taking stuff out of our pockets, or just... I think there's a couple of creative ways you can push that.
I think that's kind of interesting because like it's not dangerous in and of itself, but what you do while they're distracted.
Yeah.
And you could do some fun stuff with like cuts and edits of like, wait, what the fuck just happened? Did someone just punch me in the face?
Or like someone's driving a car and suddenly they realize they were driving somewhere else. And people have that normally where you're driving a car and you realize, oh, I'm at my destination and everything in between is gone. Yeah. I call it All-Star.
Yeah.
What about you, Jeff?
Well, I've said this one before a couple times too, but my stand would be Under Pressure.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh no, wait, not the extra note. No, wait, that's the
Yo,
lawsuit
TIT.
version.
Yeah,
that's the lawsuit version.
Let's kick it.
And the stand power would be it has the ability to modulate pressure within like a bubble of air, and it can do it faster the smaller the bubble is. So it's got like an effective, like it's effectively like a short range stand, but that bubble can be really, really, really big, and it can take like 12 hours to either heavily increase or heavily decrease the air pressure in something like the Magfest Hotel, or like a bubble the size of a pebble, it can increase it within like 5 seconds. So that's the don't get close because it'll give you an aneurysm stand.
Okay.
But also like the we're trying to find the stand user, and it's getting increasingly hot and hard to breathe in this space.
Right. I think I can safely say that Where's Your Head At would kill us all immediately.
Yeah.
I think that would immediately just destroy. Like, you get smart enough to use that properly, and that'd be it.
5 seconds of control over anybody.
That's enough time to kill them.
Yeah.
That's more than enough time to kill yourself.
See, I think I get pretty complacent with it, and I'm going to be like, I don't need to finish off Stardust Crusaders. I'm going to fuck around with them. Then I get my head aura in, and that's it.
Or it drops down to 1 second because you're out of practice.
I mean, what's the limitation outside the 5 seconds, though? Is it you have 5 seconons and that's
Maybe
the
it's
only
like,
time you ever get to control them?
If I damage myself, I take that damage, so I can only damage someone else in that 5 seconds.
Or you put them in a dangerous situation where somebody's standing.
You take the 5 seconds to jump out the window, return to your body, and they're just in midair. You're fine.
Yep.
But I mean, yeah. So is it a stand you can only use on one person once, or
I think it's like one person, you need like 20 minutes to recover, then another person.
You do it again.
Okay, so there's a bit of a refractory period, because I mean that's super inconsistent with Time Stop. They use that over and over again within like 5 seconds.
Because it's exhausting physically, but if I guess the situation calls for it, they can just keep doing it over and over as they do in their last fight. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Safe to say, I think the Stardust Crusaders would really fuck us up.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay,
we all picked villains.
Well, here's another. Well, here's another dumb fan question then. Like, if we're going full on fucking JoJo weeb, what crew? Stardust Crusaders versus the Morio Boys versus the Gangstars Passione versus the jailbirds or whatever you want to call them. You know, the Dolphin Street crew.
Yeah.
Right. Because Gyro and Johnny are like just two, so I mean, I don't know if they'd really even have a team per se. So it'd have to be down to like those three. Who do you think takes it? With no Requiem, but like end of the story arc.
How do you treat Jotaro in all those situations?
He's got time stop.
So is it alternate universe Jotaro?
Versus himself?
Yeah.
I guess so, then.
Because otherwise it's the one with Jotaro who'd probably win.
Just because he's in it.
Which version of him, then, I guess, you know?
Because is he the most out of practice by 6?
By 6, he builds it back up.
Yeah.
2, he's the most out of practice. Sorry, 4, he's the most out of practice.
And by 6, he's built it back up, which is why they have to write him out.
Yeah. And but his developmental potential drops. It tanks because it's like he's done it all. He's learned.
Technically, Part 6 is weather report. So I think.
Yeah, no, like, okay, so here's the thing. Depending on what it is, Emporio with weather report is unbeatable. He's got, like, that space he can open up anywhere, and he he's got a space he controls, and he's got weather report.
And he can affect, they'll be collateral damage, but he can affect an entire town.
Does Emporio, like, can he move it anywhere, or is it not stuck inside the prison? I thought his power was stuck in the prison.
But it gets kind of spoilery, but...
Yeah. All right.
And I forgot to mention, my friend was actually telling me the other day, I only just want to mention it because it would sound cool in the manga. A stand that makes you die, and only affects one person at a time, but makes you die if you stop talking. So they would have to. So in the manga, the JoJo hero would have to keep having speech bubbles every single page, going down every single frame until he figures out.
Filibuster stand.
That'd be so cool because it's like, oh, this is fine. We can totally do this 12 hours later.
Filibustering.
It's called Macklemore.
It's pretty good. Some people were like making up stuff on the subreddit with like imagining the Bible as like an Araki universe story, and like the fact that like Jesus can also be called Jake. What is it, like Yeshua bin Joseph or something? And it's like there's a Joe and a Joe in there, and it's like his stand would be after dying he resurrects once 3 days later, we call the stand 3 Days Grace. And then he has to fight Satan with his stand.
Well, now
down
Rocky
to
has to
Georgia.
rewrite his whole idea.
Yeah.
God.
That's pretty funny though.
Yeah.
He also has to have the ability to. It'd be very Giorno, where like he can turn something into something else and walk on water.
Oh,
right?
walking water into wine,
Yeah. Or bread, or whatever into bread.
Or turn disease into to heal people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he's Mary Magdalene's just like his side piece. It's like, you're gonna be my second in command.
This is reminding me. I was telling you about Christopher Moore yesterday. He's one of my favorite authors. He wrote a book called Lamb: The Gospel According to Biff, Jesus' childhood pal.
Yeah.
And Biff is kind of a dick. But like the whole story of this book is about Jesus in the 30 years between leaving home and
the mystery years.
coming back as a prophet. And Biff follows him this whole time. And there's this time where he's like training he's training under a yogi to like understand different spiritual disciplines. And Biff makes the most creative application of Jesus's powers to fuck with people ever. While Jesus is learning all this spiritual stuff, Biff tries being a beggar, and all of the beggars in this Indian town are like crippled, and they like force him out because they're like, "Get the fuck out of here! This is our cripple beggared space. You're not allowed here." So he brings Jesus in and gets him to heal all of their ailments, so they're out of work.
Yeah, no, I mean, the easily the most exploitable is like Infinite Fish.
Yeah. Infinite fish.
You can't beat
100%.
Infinite Fish.
That's a lot of fish.
And it's called Real Big Fish.
Ugh.
Infinite fish or infinite bread.
Yeah, or bread, real bread. It has to be.
No, oh my god, that, like, as a stand power, like, you can multiply any piece of bread. You think, oh, that's not that big a deal. You just have to trick somebody into eating a fucking crouton, and you can explode them instantly.
We can finally answer the question, how many breads have you eaten?
That's good.
Oh,
God damn it.
I think we're pretty much at the end of.
That's a really good punchline.
That is a
Really,
really
let's
good
go out on a
punchline.
high
Yeah,
note.
like
I'm not gonna follow that up, Jeff.
No.
All right, yeah. Let's dig into the mailbag a little bit. I asked for JoJo questions on Twitter an hour ago, and we've got like 20.
So
So
I don't think I'll be able to stay because I need to go bounce, unfortunately.
All right. I mean, it is 4:30 now. I was thinking this is.
Are
gonna
there
be
any targeted towards him? Just like one or two?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I didn't ask. I didn't tell them who anybody here is going to be. So they're
Surprise.
just general JoJo questions. But yeah, if you want to duck out of here now, Anthony, it was great.
Yeah, I gotta
having you
go
here.
get dinner with friends.
I haven't eaten today, so I should go do that soon too.
All right, well, it was great being on here. I had a fun time talking JoJo and being a weeb about it. Love it.
Yeah.
Not wait until part 5. I'm super excited for that. For all the costumes and...
Don't forget part 4 still has the OVAs with Rohan.
Oh, that's right.
shit.
That's right.
That is true.
Maybe we'll get those first.
Yeah, Rohan at the Louvre. That'd be a pretty good OVA.
Can your stand evolve and eventually take on a new form and become Touch the Sky?
Touch this guy.
Kanye West reference, you gotta take it.
I gotta take it. You gotta take it. Going
Fuck
a little
you.
crazy.
It's yours.
A little crazy. All right, but guys, thank you very much. I need to
Skedaddle.
need the skeets.
Watch out for the...
To be continued.
Okay.
So I actually heard that song first in Rock Band 3, and it was notorious because it was the whole song.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was the final song of that game. Yeah.
That's their answer to Freebird, I guess.
So let's take some questions and squeeze on out. What do you got?
Oh god, there's a lot of very
Spoilerish questions.
there's a lot of very weird questions. This one's from Kenny Varnas, and it's one of the oldest questions in the mailbag, so I feel like I have to hit it.
Okay.
He asks, "Dear Geoff, Tsundere for Sao Thew, and Woolie Haruhi Suzumiya did nothing wrong."
Oh, fuck you, man.
Have you ever read the infamous Jotaro Kakyoin Dojin by the legendary four-girl band Clamp? If you haven't, spoiler alert, Kakyoin lays an egg. It hatches out, and out pops a chibi Jojo. His name is Joda, and his stand is called Charmy Green, because Jotaro found a bottle of dishwasher brand with the same name, and being the dumbass that he is, names it after it, thus combo breaking the musical / tarot motif. By the way, Charmy Green is real. Think Japanese pine sol. The worst part is that it's not a single hint of being the work of an enemy stand. It's presented through the Dojin. It's played completely seriously because it's basically a JoJo /fic made by fangirls who just so happen to be professional mangaka who should seriously know better.
This is real Clamp.
Part of it got animated.
Clamp really did this.
Yeah.
I can tell because Jotaro is officially 14 heads high in this piece of art I'm seeing here.
I feel like I just took in a lot of information that I wasn't ready for.
No.
Yeah, no.
And it's already on the way out. So thankfully, I'm really good at editing my brain.
Cool.
I have not.
Let me see, because I haven't.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
The answer to
no.
that question, sir,
Absorb
is
it in.
no,
We have not.
I have not. And if I have, it's already been erased
boy.
from my brain.
So he concludes the email with gun meet mouth, mouth meet gun, now kiss.
Hey, swallow a bullet.
Look at Sonic next to old Joseph.
Oh boy. I didn't know that Clamp did, like, dojins and fan art.
Oh, that's where they started.
Yeah, they were fangirls before they were anything else.
And even
I
then,
didn't
like,
know. Wow.
in most of their series, they will have a Jotaro and a Kakyoin, and
Type.
it's always kind of like... and, like, yeah, a lot of Clamp's existence is a love letter to Jotaro Kakyoin.
Where in X can we pull that off? Is there a Jotaro and Kakyoin in X?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Probably like 5 of them if you really sit and look at all the Dragons
Yeah.
of Heaven and Earth.
It's
really,
been
but-
so long.
I want to
since
say
watched
some of their
X.
characters are based on Jotaro because there's that one, like, Apocalypse anime with the character with, like, the hat.
Any band show that they throw in.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck no. What's the next question?
Dracatula von Goo asks, "Greetings, weekly Weebcast," like Steve Weeby. He spelled it that way. Yeah.
I get it.
When do you guys think it'll be the right time for Part 5 to air?
Yesterday.
Right now.
Yeah. So that we can get to Steel Ball already.
The right time would have been at the end of fucking Part 4 with a shot of goddamn Koichi in Italy.
That would have been so good. That would have been so good.
Tease it, you assholes. Tease it.
Because it was, maybe I have this wrong, but I think it was teased in the final volume cover, where, like, their journal... Now, I could have that completely wrong. I'm thinking of something else.
They teased it with, God damn it, Stardust from
Battle Tendency.
Battle Tendency.
But when, like, the concluding chapter of Part 4, like, when it was being released, I think Journo might have been on the cover of that, like, even just, like, tiny bit in the background.
Okay, early, yeah.
I could have that wrong, but I remember hearing something like that.
Because what they could have even done to make it, like, even more subtle is just have, like, this Speedwagon Foundation member go up to Jotaro's ear and whisper something like, "We found someone."
Yeah, or
Yeah.
whatever the case. It'd be, I just fucking, I mean, it takes place 2 years later, right?
Yeah.
But tease it. You know, we know it's there. You pointed the arrow at it on the goddamn intro.
That's the
you know?
tease. That's the tease. Is having Italy Part 5 in the intro.
But the real tease.
Yeah, I know.
You know? Get me where I need to be.
I just
Yeah.
love if someone ran up to Jotaro and was like, "Jotaro, Dio had a son." Hard cut to credits playing Italian music.
Yeah,
His son is alive.
Like, he just looks at the camera shocked, and then...
Sunny Philadelphia.
but then they have to come back at the end of part, or like somewhere in the middle of Part 6. Just somebody runs up to Jotaro and just like, "Jotaro, Dio had 6 sons.
the cool one isn't here.
They're all at Disneyland right now, coincidentally."
Yeah. God, I love how they had to make a note about that, where they're like, "You're probably asking yourself, where's Giorno?" Well, the answer is, he's just not here. Like, what the fuck?
The answer is, shut up.
Yeah. The answer is, don't think about it. All right. Javierich Zero. I don't know if that's pronounced right, but whatever. Asks, Out of all 8 parts, who is the best JoJo? What's the best setting and the best villain and the best Joe Bro? And what do you think is overall the best part? I think we all agree part 7 is...
It's okay. Can we just
I
do
say
it-
part 4, but I'm just saying.
And with that, can we do it without justification because it would probably take forever to go through all 4 of those?
Yeah, no, we don't need to justify.
Just bullet point.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's fine. So best JoJo, best villain, best setting, and
Best Joe Bro.
Joe Bro.
And then best overall part.
Okay.
Okay, I gotta go. This is gonna sound weird if I'm not explaining it. Jolene, love Jolene. Morio, Kira, and Gyro.
All mine are going to be from part 4. So, Josuke, Morio, Kira, Okuyatsu.
I'm going to say Josuke Valentine. Because
Fair.
Valentine's fucking amazing.
Actually, my favorite stand is D4C.
The prison.
Really?
Yeah. It's a really cool setting. I don't,
yeah.
I don't think it's as well utilized as it could be, but it's a really unique setting for...
Especially for like stand encounters.
for stand encounters, exactly. Like prison yard stand fights. That's a cool idea.
Yes.
The best Joe Bro... Gyro.
Yeah.
And the best part 7, overall.
Yeah, I guess unsurprisingly, I'm gonna mirror a bunch of that. Josuke, Valentine, the prison, and Okuyasu.
You're like a hybrid of our answers.
Yeah.
That's the good shit. That's the good shit.
It's like-
but not to take away from the awesome setting that is a race, but like, as fun as that is, I think the prison is just it's a much more limited, clever thing that you can do a lot with. In the same way that I like movies like The Raid, and things where it's like you are locked into a place, figure it out, make it work.
Honorable mention to Caesar as Jobro. I think Caesar's fucking dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, Caesar's good.
Caesar's good.
No one's gonna take that away from you. Caesar's good.
He doesn't win any fights, though.
Nope.
Yeah, Caesar is the
He
ultimate
kissed that girl
jobber.
though.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
And then he got a burn in his mouth.
He did. The bird was in his mouth.
Okay, Stephen James asks, "Hi, long time, first time." He does not say which of either of those he is.
He's never listened to the podcast, but he asks a lot of
Yeah.
questions.
He's been emailing for a long time.
Why didn't Dio use Space Ripper Stingy Eyes on Jotaro to make sure he was dead? Kind regards, and then he doesn't have a signature.
Araki.
Because
Araki forgot.
No.
Okay.
Let me bullshit my way out of this
Okay.
bag. Because he needed all the blood he could take at that point, and Stingy Eyes, Space Rippers, blah blah blah. Laser Eye, Blood Eyes is a blood laser, and it uses his blood. And using blood at that point was a bad idea.
But he didn't use it after he got Joseph's blood.
Before he landed, was he injured at all at that point? No, he only
He
needed
was
the blood afterwards.
fucking insane after he
Yeah.
got Joseph's blood.
And he to the point where he was like twisting his own like fucking
Yeah,
finger
like he
into
was
his
not
head.
he was
Yeah.
not a logical man at that point.
Yeah. Because I guess you're not right. You're not wrong. I guess I was just thinking like Dio's blood was his like life bar in that last fight. It was his currency, and Space Ripper Stingy Eyes would be spending that. And he
It is a special after all in the game.
why not just walk over and not use your blood when you can just stab him? And like, what if he used it and like, I don't know, Star Platinum like caught some and then drank it. And he's like, now I'm immortal, bitch, and like fucking went vampire on him. No, that's stupid. That's terrible. And I think that I don't know. He forgot. Araki forgot. That's why.
Yeah, that's my explanation.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Why doesn't Dio ever try to flash freeze anybody?
He does have a line in All-Star Battle where he says, when he fights the bird, not an All-Star Battle, but in Eyes of Heaven, when he fights against Pet Shop, he says, ice. That's a nostalgic technique.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's that he doesn't have as much control over his body, but still, it's
Everyone knows Hammond now.
I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if he was like, I got the world now, I don't need anything else.
Right.
Like it's like
Yeah.
a pride thing for him.
Although that team up with Dio and Dio,
So sick.
motherfucker, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna dodge my own shit. Woof, and just the lasers come from behind his head. If you haven't seen it, check out Dio teamed up with Dio from All-Star Battle in their team special. It's
I
great.
mean, Eyes of Heaven.
Eyes of Heaven, excuse me.
I'd say just set aside 20 minutes and watch them all. 'cause
Yeah.
Like the Neo Giorno one?
Yeah. You know, and just fucking Jotaro getting disgusted with Joseph in the dressed up costume or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's all over the place, and you get feels from Jonathan actually like meeting his grandkids and his descendants, and kind of having words for them.
And old Joseph having to explain everything to everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, so Tape Ghost asks, this is something that we
ghost?
can answer. Tape Ghost.
Okay.
Not Space Ghost, Coast to Coast. When Stray Cat is inside Killer Queen and Killer Queen disappears, where does Stray Cat go? Because Stray Cat is established as a real thing that can be seen by non-stand users, so where can it go when Killer Queen isn't out?
Killer Queen should totally not be able to make Stray Cat invisible. Stray Cat should be floating around.
That's what, They should just, Hayato should just be seeing a cat just float around in midair.
I guess now we know that stand skin is effectively camouflage.
Yeah.
As well.
If you put something inside the Predator, you wouldn't be able to see that.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's the skin.
But if a stand god damn it, because when Star Platinum inhaled all of the sand of Justice, rather.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you just see a bunch of floating stomach sand in the air? Or did we see nothing? I think the average person would have seen nothing. So yeah, stand skin is as cloaks. Use it. It's good.
Araki!
Yeah, Jojo is magic. That's my real answer.
Yep. Did he follow it up with, I sure hope someone got fired for that one? We're supposed to believe it's some kind of magic xylophone. Anyway. Any other lookers?
Yeah, this is interesting.
Okay.
Donovan Birch asks, hello, I've recommended people watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in the past, and I've noticed I've been describing each part as X meets Y, e.g., Persona 4 meets Fist of the North Star for Diamond is Unbreakable. I'm curious as to if you do a similar thing when discussing the show as a whole, and what hybrid shows ideas you might consider each part to be, and what shows or series you might recommend to people who like JoJo. Have a nice day!
Thank you.
Or, yeah.
So I would say, I know it's a little late in it, but part 8 is JoJo's meets Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
And
I would totally say that if you enjoy part 4, you should absolutely go watch Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah.
It predates part 4, and I think it actually takes a lot of influence. There's a lot of overlap between those two, and they're both very different in their own ways, but they have such a similar vibe about them, especially the chapter Black Arc in Yu Yu Hakusho. Yu Yu Hakusho's great. I'm going to do a video on it.
So Thomas, just, are you hearing it in your head? Boom, ba-doom, boom. From West Moriocho, born and raised. All right, are you
I'm not going to do that one because Fresh Prince is easy bait. But
you're hearing it.
Yeah,
as long as you hear it.
I don't know if I'd go Fresh Prince with part 8 as much as I'd say part 8 is part 4 mixed with a Junji Ito manga.
It's a good one too.
Because the walleyes are straight up like a Junji Ito
Yeah.
concept. And people
Amigara.
people being swallowed up by the earth and stitched together with new powers. That's
Totally. That is actually such a Junji Ito, this massive mysterious thing happens and it fucks people up. Yeah, I
don't think I don't describe JoJo like that through comparisons, but it depends on who I'm talking to. Mm-hmm. If the person I'm talking to has 0 point of reference, then I will have to use the other things they can know. Mm-hmm. But I'd rather just describe it with the words that describe what the thing is, instead of necessarily going, it's like this meets that. Because that also might set up incorrect expectations. Mm-hmm. And JoJo is a lot of things and takes inspiration from a lot of things, but at the end, it's its own beast. You know, I don't care how much Jonathan looks exactly like Kenshiro, because he fucking does.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But at the end, it's its own beast, and I think actually just describing it is better and more effective in selling it than making comparisons.
JoJo is JoJo for sure. There's there's nothing that you can really compare it to that's exactly like it.
I think there's elements of part 1 that immediately disappear.
Part 1, you can say it's Fist of the North Star meets Dracula, and that's not inaccurate.
No, you can do that.
Yeah, but but add in like supermodel poses and then take out Dracula slowly over time. And that's what JoJo kind of becomes. But but the thing is, I don't necessarily describe the part as any one idea meets something else, because I don't think that Araki is interested in fusing two things that he likes together in any capacity.
Unless it's Josuke.
Yeah. And I think just like in that person's mind, then they just go, okay, so the villain is just like Vlad Tepes, and it's like, no, Dio's way more interesting than any other Dracula. With part 4, I would be like, okay, so like, imagine that Patrick Bateman has a persona, Yeah.
and that like. There's nothing.
And then an 80s style like thug kid from Japan, which find a like, what are you gonna do for that? And then Kunio-kun has a persona. Yeah. And that you have to do all this. You have to workshop it so hard. It's like, why bother?
And the real thing is like it's JoJo filtered through whatever genre Araki wants to challenge himself with this time, because like part 1 is like a very straight battle adventure manga, then part 2 it's like I wanted to do like an Indiana Jones style lost treasure adventure. Part 3 is I wanted to do Around the World in 80 Days with like a big stupid road trip buddy movie meets the stupid adventure, and then part 4 I want to do fucking Scooby-Doo.
In one town in suburbia.
In part 5 is I wanted to do my version of a gangster movie, but with all my hip hop influences, my prog rock influences, all of that stuff that I love mixed into a gangster story.
Part 6, Caged Heat.
Yeah. And part 7 is like another great,
The Great Race,
huge adventure, like the
Amazing Race, rather.
Not the Amazing Race, but like another Around the World in 80 Days type thing, but more contained and focused.
I think the important part that the person that you're talking to has to understand is what that JoJo filter is, and so the comparisons fail that. I think
one thing that's kind of worked for me a couple of times is that if you really want to nail home like the personality of JoJo's, like the kind of soul of JoJo's, 2 great episodes to show anyone is the first 2 episodes of part 2, because you get like the fight with Straits, you get Joseph doing his crazy thing.
That's true.
Like I've gotten several people into Joseph by just showing like, and I know it's a little out of order, and I know people get bent out of shape over that, but if you want to just cut to the heart of why the series is great, there's so much in those 2 episodes.
Shenanigans, establishing the character,
the grenades on the thing, that kind of stuff,
and dealing with the villain, quote unquote, of that part right away. You're right.
It's like JoJo's in a microcosm.
That's a really good point. Absolutely.
2 things I use to recommend JoJo are one of them is which if I know they are into shonen stuff or have an anime experience, I say, okay, you know how like a lot of Dragon Ball and other shonen stuff is just power level shooting blasted like that. If you don't like that and you like seeing a hero think of ways out of situations and smartly fight these creative foes in interesting ways, then you would like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It's because, except for the ending of part 3, it's not all power levels and flying around and shooting beams and getting stronger. Go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say, like, I was like the closest comparison, I guess if you had to, if the person was familiar with like Naruto, then you could say like every fight is a Shikamaru battle.
Yeah.
To get the point across, if you had to.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I just mentioned there's musical references everywhere. Like I mentioned, the 4 main bad guys of part 2 are named Santana, Wham, AC/DC, and Cars. And then they're like, okay, that sounds... I've gotten multiple people interested, just those stupid names alone.
Yeah.
Okay, another interesting question from Ryan Uy. Dear Jeff and Co., what's that one stand that you really like that no one seems to talk about? So his example is, in Stone Ocean, Jailhouse Lock struck me as a what do moment, and how the arc concluded was very interesting. Let the voice of love take you higher, your beloved patron, Ryan.
Nice.
So, I guess, like, I've talked about it so much that I'm gonna say enough about me talking about Survivor. I love Survivor. It's the best thing ever. That's done. Outside of that being my favorite stand, I think what people don't talk about as much probably would be Foo Fighters. I think FF is really fun and cool, and I know she's best girl, but I don't think it gets talked about that much in terms of Stone Ocean. At least not in the conversations I've had. So yeah, I'm gonna say FF. Plankton. Sentient plankton.
Yeah, sentient plankton that's a fun one.
Yeah.
I would have to go with Pearl Jam. Because it's not necessarily the most like widely applicable or inherently interesting stand on its own, but I love the fact that it's just like a totally non-violent, non-combat stand that just comes in the middle of all of these different really tense encounters, and the way that it throws the characters off and the readers off. Just the way that it sort of sets that tone for this is not your conventional JoJo part.
It's not always going to be a fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just some guy trying to help you, and you're too much of a paranoid asshole.
Yeah.
It's not like an obscure stand at all, but I really love Stone Free. I think the shit they do with the strings, like even I think there's a point where someone tries to punch Jolene and she stretches out one of the strings and absorbs the force into it.
Yep.
And like there's a bit where she auras someone through steel bars by like turning her fists to string, getting them through the bars, turning them solid again, so she annihilates this person on the other side of the bars without actually breaking the bars.
Yes.
I love shit like that.
It's smart.
Yeah. So I think that would be mine.
I'm still thinking. That's a really tough one. I actually do like Aqua Necklace.
Aqua
Necklace's ability, if it wasn't in the hands of an asshole. Because he can use it to control people. He does all sorts of things, but he just uses it to kill people.
Yeah.
And it's basically an enhanced version of the blind guy stand.
Of Newell.
Yeah.
Newell, rather.
Yeah, because it has a form, it has a personality. You can look at things that he's not looking at.
Yeah.
And his range is a little shorter, but yeah.
And if it's raining,
you're
unstoppable.
Yeah. You're
fine.
done. You're done. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, that's actually a really good segue into the last question.
Oh, God, sorry. I just remembered how Jolene choked out that asshole lawyer in the beginning.
Yeah.
From so far away. Fuck, she got him good, man. Damn.
Yeah. And we got a question from Turco Bandito, who asks, one of the things I like most about Araki is how he makes really good situations and scenarios for every weird specific stand in the series to battle on. Example, Aqua Necklace is on a house with water leaks. In your opinion, which is the most unique situation in the series in this regard?
So I would go with, there's a part in part 6 and there's a stand user, and I found it the most stressful thing in the world to read. It's when you can do 5 things and you forget everything before that.
Yeah.
Was that Jailhouse Lock?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that was Jailhouse Lock. Yeah.
And like just like that was really like just tense and so different to every other encounter in that part.
And Jolene had to write all over her body to remember things and then forget them again.
Memento.
Yeah.
Memento.
Oh, shit.
Fuck. Oh, yeah. That's one of the most interesting chapters too, because it cold opens on that.
Yeah.
You don't know how she got into that.
Yeah.
How you're just in her perspective.
And I think it's one of those ones where you're really like, I don't know how they'll ever get out of this. Because, you know, like if it's someone like shooting fire or whatever, you're like, yeah, they're gonna fucking punch them. But with that, you're like, I don't know how this is going to end, you know? And I think that's really exciting.
And I think that's the stand that, or rather, that's the chapter that brought us Balls Deep, wasn't it? When she beats her with the baseballs.
Oh,
no, I think that's the
Marilyn
gambling.
Manson.
That's the gambling.
Oh, you were
Yeah.
gambling. Never mind.
That's
right.
my favorite horror.
Yeah. How deep? I'm thinking that Sea Moon is probably the most weird, baffling situation, especially when you consider it's very specifically like at the Space Center in Florida. Like it's a very particular location that shit's happening in. I think that like the fact that like when they're on the road and you can kind of approach the area where the gravity is at its limit, and you can pretty much like they're standing there and like you like I think it was like cars and a bunch of debris start to kind of
and
like
you think they're driving,
level out,
but they're falling.
That
was
amazing. That was fucking great. I thought that situation was really really cool and cleverly done, especially like the transition into it. And just as far as like weirdness goes, I'd also give it up to part 6 as well with God damn it, I forgot its name.
Green Baby.
Underground Airplane.
Oh shit! Yeah. Oh, I
forgot about that.
Yeah.
One.
Goddamn, like Underground Airplane, where you're visiting the memories of a tragedy that happened on this spot, and he has the power to like make you die in the same way that the people in that situation die. So weird in particular because you're not in a place that really exists.
Yeah.
You know, you're in the earth in a memory. And the only thing that like gets you out of it is your potential knowledge about this weird obscure event and where you should sit so that you don't die. That would be it for me. But I forgot the Stan's name. Yeah.
Okay, so I won't spoil the part, but because it involves how they defeat it. But there's a certain battle where this person controls a tornado of air that rips you apart. So it chases 2 side characters throughout this entire city, and they're trying to get away and stuff like that. At one point, they're holding a respirator over their faces. The air is coming through that thing because it.
Which part? Sorry.
I'll just say it's at part 8.
Oh, okay. All right. That's
yeah.
All right.
And the only way to defeat it is because one of the heroes has the ability to make anything look like a person. So they defeat this remote stand user by making a bus look like a person that the stand user knows. So stand user goes, what are you doing out here? He stands in front of a bus and gets run over.
That's great.
That's
awesome. Nice.
But yeah, the remote stand was every time you breathe, your breath turns into a whirlwind that rips you apart.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, that one was.
And they were trying, and they do really go through normal steps of, wait, can he see us? This must be remote and all that stuff, and it lasts a little bit, but it's really tense.
I'm gonna go with Shakedown Alley.
Yeah.
That's a weird fucking chapter.
That's one of the most that I have no idea what's going on. You know,
I reread it more than I think I've reread any other JoJo chapter to try and completely get what was happening. And I only have a semblance of it. Like, the wiki helped a bit, but, oh man, that's a weird one. And everyone's using it, but they don't
really get it either. Yeah.
You know?
Well, they like take advantage of the terrain to like set up stuff. It's like someone making a lemonade stand next to a place where it's really hot. They realized the situation was, hey, bad things keep happening here and things keep moving. I'm going to use it in my advantage. I'm going to wait here for accidents to happen and then.
And it's a whole street full of those like scam artists who are like, oh, you knocked over that priceless vase. You better fix it.
Reagan would destroy that place though.
Crazy Diamond.
Would Reagan Arataka.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Crazy Diamond would destroy that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Just like no.
What vase? It's fixed.
Yeah.
One other one just to mention super quick, but it really messed me up. Green Baby. When you get closer to it, you get smaller.
Oh,
Green Baby.
So if you fall onto Green Baby, you will shrink at a rate faster than you are falling, so you will fall forever.
You'll fall forever.
And that's horrifying.
Like, that was never a thought that, like, occurred, but yes, if someone pushed you onto the Green Baby, you would fall forever.
Yeah, you practically don't exist because you would shrink faster than atoms in, like, a split second.
And I guess if they move the Green Baby, like, away, then you just... Well, that's it now. You're in a universe... Like, God, like, the space you were just in, for every second that goes on, becomes a galaxy to you, you know, as you shrink, infinitesimally.
Make friends with your new amoeba buddies.
That's a bad one.
Yeah.
That's a bad one.
Oh, God. Yeah, there's a lot of stands that if they work, if they're applied a little differently from how they are in the manga, they become the most horrifying thing ever.
Oh yeah.
I think that's kind of the fun of part of the fun of JoJo is just thinking about how the different stuff could apply. Because I guess Araki's just set up the rule set in that way that it all lends itself to that.
Yeah, it's a very brilliantly written show for fomenting a fan base that like can keep talking about any individual part forever.
Yeah.
And I think it's about time that we finish this conversation about JoJo, because I'm sure that when Part 5 starts airing, we're going to have more.
I got a lot of it out of my system.
Yeah.
I definitely got a lot of it out of my system, for sure.
You were like a kid in a candy shop. You were so excited.
Yeah. No, I was just trying to quickly see if I could find the name of that goddamn underground airplane, but I can't, and I forget what it's called. It's going to bug me because I'm going to, like, find out, like, 2 seconds after this is done, but whatever. Yeah. It's fine.
No worries. I've realized halfway through I made a bunch of errors on stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we all did, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Welcome to any JoJo discussion with Woolie.
Someone would let us know about it.
That's your real ability. You make people screw up
You make incorrect facts about JoJo happen.
and infect us.
Fucking the whole horse bullets are already, and the Sex Pistol bullets of, like, wrongness are, like, are corrections, or should I say.
What was that stand that makes you, like, say things you don't want to say? the tongue stand?
Which?
There's that one in Part 5 that controls the character's tongue.
Oh yeah, the one that affects Narancia, and so you can't tell them that it's happening.
And then there's sharks as well in there somewhere.
Yeah, no, because
The shark
it's
guy
one of
works with
those.
the mud
It's
guy.
one of those team up stands, right?
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's useless on its own, but like in addition to another stand,
He
it
can't
fucks
say
you up.
the thing. Yes,
That's
yes.
that's my favorite kind of stand. Mischief stands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whole
no.
horse and Boingo.
The whole horse and Boingo, best
So
fight in that
Best
arc.
Tex Avery cartoon ever.
yeah.
Because they the Crusaders don't even know the fight's happening; they just defeat themselves. But yeah. Anyway, thank you for all
Underworld. Donatello
okay.
versus Underworld. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a good name too.
Yeah,
It is because it can't say Versace.
Yeah.
But that was a good part. Thank you everybody for coming out to talk about JoJo with me for almost 3 hours now.
Jesus.
That's how these podcasts go. If we do in all the Warriors, it's also gonna be
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for coming out. I appreciate the help in discussing the monumental work of creative explosions that is JoJo. That was not very good description, but we've been talking for 3 hours.
We have.
Just give us a break here.
Yeah, but it's getting weird though, because I saw when Bunny Hop walked in, I saw little like menacing symbols coming off of it.
Yeah.
I
Is
wasn't
Bunny
too
Hop an enemy stand?
I'm not too sure, and I need to go investigate that shit. So, let's peace out here.
Yeah, let's peace out here. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Shoot your questions to weeklyweebcast@gmail.com and
Go 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 go.